One Officer Wang sits on a metal bench in the police station corridor, his wrinkled face showing pure resignation as he asks the boy what happened this time. The kid claims those things were dangerous, and he was just preventing disaster. His Jinx Constitution leaves him absolutely no choice but to strike first. The officer rubs his forehead, reminding him not to sneak into the senior center. At night to dismantle 12 electric fans, he got caught red-handed. Now the elderly folks are sweating in June while trying to play mahjong. Looking deeply ashamed, the boy promises to disable the cameras first next time. Officer Wang sighs, admitting he watched him grow up, but this curse is unscientific. But the kid quickly points out last week's runaway truck and those falling billboards. Wang simply blames a drunk driver and a decaying building facade. Before the boy can list older events, he is waved off, shut down. He jokes that the kid will blame a soda bottle next, warning him again. "Just come to me if anything happens," he tells the boy, who nods. The local neighbors know he is a poor orphan, so they mostly scold him. Within the past month, he snuck onto a neighbor's balcony to remove a window. Next, he stole a guard's bike valve and lassoed a pot. Then he slapped the stray dog, Du Bao, twice, all of them caught. Incidents where he got caught, but people completely missed the hidden details. The window track was warped, the bike brakes were failing, the pot cracked. Only poor Du Bao could not speak. The jinx is real, absolutely real. Years of constantly fighting this curse gave him a strange new ability. He calls it killing intent perception, a sudden, sharp warning of danger. Action is taken immediately until the warning fades, but this power has strict limits. If a real truck comes, he can only dodge, no other choice. As he stands to leave, Officer Wang grabs his arm, spotting a bruise. The boy claims it is just a harmless, ball-playing injury from days ago. Believing his sincere face, the officer lets the matter drop for now. After he leaves, a strange man in a sharp suit suddenly steps into the empty hallway. Officer Wang quickly salutes his boss, who politely declines a dinner offer. The man steps outside, turning to follow the exact direction the boy went. He pulls back his sleeve, revealing a dark matching bruise on his forearm. It forms a very clear number 15. Meanwhile, the boy slips back home. He puts some cabbage and tofu soup on the stove to bubble quietly. Living off his parents' inheritance, he made it to 19 in college. With over 30,000 won in savings, he works a part-time job. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. A voice outside claims to be checking the gas. No way, the gas company would never check meters after hours. Plus, his intuition detects a massive wave of killing intent right outside. He grabs a heavy meat cleaver, sharpens both sides, and hums a song as he approaches the door. The moment the door unlocks, he yanks it open and swings the blade. But the blade stops instantly, pinched tightly between the stranger's two fingers. Calmly holding up an official card, he shows a national emblem. He praises the boy's aggression and enters the apartment like he owns it. Sitting down, he picks up an empty bowl and demands some soup. Seasoning before telling the kid to sit down and eat, he introduces himself as Son from the Department of Supernatural Abilities, claiming he is thereabout. A bruise on the kid's hand, they call it an imprint, and his organization's. Prophet predicted a newcomer would show up at the community station this afternoon. Son actually used his sense of smell to track him from school to the market. Even watching him slap a stray dog, now he wonders why the kid is not surprised by magic. Instead of answering, the kid just asks about the dog. Son says it tried to bite him. So he brushed it aside. As a Mystic Realm agent, a mere dog could never hurt him. Then he suspects something. The boy explains that slapping Dabha was just their secret signal. Since she always barks at strangers, just last month she even helped chase off some thieves. Hearing this, Son goes completely pale, a seasoned agent, easily spotted by a school kid. The boy tries to comfort him, admitting he just thought the agent was some petty thief. That only makes Son feel even more pathetic. Intrigued, the kid asks about the imprint. Son rolls up his sleeve to show his forearm, pointing to the numbers below. The kid leans in, spotting a countdown of 86 minutes and 44 seconds right there. Right below is a quest name, Floating Zen Temple, rated 4 stars. Once that timer hits 0, his spirit will be pulled straight into the Mystic Realm. It is a trial every agent faces. The kid's own mark should fully form by tomorrow. Son promises to pick him up early, but the kid complains about having morning classes. The agent insists his life has changed. His classmates belong to a completely different world now. And a school degree is the last thing he needs. The boy nods, accepting his new reality. He asks what the largest number means, and Oh-sun says that is his agent rank. Someone else will explain that tomorrow, but then Oh-sun notices how pale the boy looks. The kid complains that an uninvited guest crashed his dinner. Oh-sun blushes. Muttering that a young man cannot survive on just cabbage, he fumbles with his wallet, slaps down some cash, and rushes out, feeling guilty for stealing food from a poor orphan. Once the agent leaves, the kid orders a huge barbecue feast, digesting everything he heard. Sleep does not come easily tonight, but he is not the only one awake. Oh-sun is tossing and turning in his bed, suddenly giving himself a hard slap. He feels like an absolute idiot. By morning, the boy's imprint is mostly formed. Though the main level number remains blurry, he heads to the bathroom to wash up. But as he grabs the toothpaste, a sudden, cold sense of danger radiates from the plastic cap. He quickly melts the cap with his lighter, and the threatening aura vanishes. Had he not, the tube would have slipped, bounced off the sink, and choked him. These bizarre, life-threatening close calls happen every single day. Soon, a text arrives. Oh-sun is waiting downstairs. The car ride is mostly silent. They eventually pull up to a worn-out building in the city's old district. The Gukdong building sign is peeling, with wild ivy crawling over the gray walls. An elderly security guard just stares blankly into his tea mug. It looks exactly like a secret agency. Oh-sun leads the boy to a small elevator tucked in the back, scanning his fingerprint. Before hitting the button for the 10th floor, he mentions only official agents can access these levels. But as the elevator doors slide open, they are blasted with insanely loud music. Someone is playing a terrible DJ remix of a classic song, completely shattering the boy's expectations. He asks Oh-sun if this department is even a real, government-sanctioned organization. Oh-sun blushes in embarrassment, quickly telling him to just sit at the reception desk. The desk is completely empty, holding only a cup of steaming green tea. Suddenly, the music cuts out. Oh-sun returns with a scrawny, shiny bald man. The stranger greets Lee warmly. He calls him Little Lee and introduces himself as Wang Ba, Little O's team leader. Lee calls him Brother Ba, catching him off guard before he laughs it off. They head to a conference room renovated for 500,000 won, where Lee asks for reassurance. He asks if they are truly sanctioned. Ba raises his eyebrows to explain. The association is a registered local business with 50 million won in capital. It operates under the department and holds deep authority within the supernatural world. Their power exceeds the police in most cases, which Lee does not doubt. Still, Ba's sketchy look makes Lee waver, then Ba sends Oh away. He dispatches Oh on a field assignment and leads Lee to a bright, clean lab. It is on the 12th floor, packed with tech. Ba calls for team leader Moon. She is a short-haired woman under 30, brought in to examine the newcomer. Fair-skinned and gentle, she introduces herself as Moon Yan. He takes a seat. She must manifest his imprint. That soft voice of hers instantly puts him at ease. He agrees immediately, promising to cooperate. She gets right to work. A tourniquet, 3 chemical reagents, and she tightly grips his hand. Even through her thick gloves, a strange, inhuman warmth floods into him. When she releases him, a clear imprint appears. Number 1, countdown 31 seconds. It marks the novice space. She warns that only half an hour remains for registration. The physical exam must wait. She explains registration, which all agents must undergo. They enter the novice space for the first time to meet the game administrator. Brother Boss slides over to take charge. He warns Lee about a certain weird puppet. The creature has a broken mind, but Lee must act respectful and flatter it. Buttering it up is crucial because it decides his starting talent and basic attributes. This will deeply impact his future exploration. Lee asks if the puppet is strong. Boss sneers that physically the thing is trash, but its administrative power matters. As the system manager, it can easily change his mystic realm progress. If he offends it, his dungeon difficulty and random events will spike drastically. Everything will be set to the hardest tier. Honestly, who wouldn't be sweating right now? But for Lee, terrible luck is nothing new. He asks Ba about the best starting stats. Ba explains that the national record is 1 starting talent and 10 attributes. After registering, he must clear dungeons to level up and gain attributes. These skills and talents will directly influence his power in the real world. A score of 4 is a decent pass. Lee thanks them both politely. Moon Yan, fond of well-mannered rookies, leads him to a windowless room. Inside is a strange chair, fitted with heavy iron rings for hands and feet. She warns him that he will pass out, then hands him a mouth guard. This will prevent him from biting his tongue. Both Ba and Yan look anxious. Seeing them tense, Lee tells them to relax. Ba grumbles about the role reversal. He issues a final warning that the administrator will use every cheap trick. It will insult and deceive him to steal attributes, so he must stand firm. He must remain completely steady. The countdown ends, deep drowsiness hits. Lee plunges into darkness for 10 seconds before a soft light glows below. He lands heavily on a dark marble platform, feeling sharp but harmless pain. Before him sits a wooden desk, and behind it, a puppet wearing red and green. Dangling legs, clocking joints, it calls him weak and small. Another clueless fool with a gloomy face, declaring in its stiff voice that, even if it absolutely hates welcoming someone like him, the core system code requires it to welcome him to the global mystic realm. He finally understands why. Wang Ba absolutely loathes this creature. It whips out some papers from its back. Tossing them onto the desk, sign this immediately and stop wasting my time, it demands. The main agreement looks like a standard game disclaimer, right until the final clause stating players take full responsibility for any fatal unknown dangers. This creepy puppet pushes him to sign, calling his sluggish reaction worthless. It earns him only 1 attribute point, then jumps onto the desk, cackling. Claiming as a generous administrator, it will grant him 2 points instead. Hurry. He asks how to sign. Deciding he is easily fooled, it extends its right hand as the contracts dissolve into glowing data streams, circling its wooden arm. Grab my hand, it commands. He reaches out his right hand to shake. The glowing streams contract into their touching palms. Its painted mouth grins upward. Cackling that the naive newcomer fell for its trap, his stats could been much higher, but its intellect outsmarted him. Suddenly, its voice cuts off into a painful shriek. He has zero interest in its smart mouth. He pulls the puppet to his chest, drives a hard elbow in, delivers a heavenly palm strike. An Iron Mountain shoulder lane and a fierce tiger combo, absolute carnage. Slamming the 1.5-meter puppet right over his shoulder. It lands flat with a buzzing head. Before it can speak, he sits on its back, pinning its arms. Registration is not over yet, he says. We need to talk, the thing shrieks. Demanding if he knows who it is, he just delivers slap after slap until it cries in apology. Can we speak calmly now, he asks. It nods frantically. What is the absolute maximum? Starting attributes, 10, 12, what else? It gasps out 1 skill, 1 talent maximum. No gear, he slaps it 5 more times, serves it right. It begs, calling him big brother. Swearing this is truly the novice space, and it is only a network administrator. Unable to alter the program, give me the highest possible specifications, he demands. It begs him to let go, promising to comply, and they shake hands once more. System notification pops up, 12 attribute points added, along with a new talent and skill. This talent, Fierce God of Evil, makes anyone looking at his face lose 5 favorability. Plus 20 timidity, though it is not eternal. He also gets a level 1 slap skill. Categorized as fist and palm, the strike scales with his physique and spirit. Face strikes trigger critical hits. This one is eternal, a system tip explains. Meaning eternal skills and talents work outside the mystic realms, temporary ones function only inside. He twists its arm, demanding why he only got basic abilities. It quickly explains that administrators only choose whether to grant the starting options. But the specific effects are completely random, since he is only level 1. Higher abilities are locked. Besides, a talent that lowers favorability is perfect for clearing trials through pure intimidation. He agrees and lets it go. Now explain the 4 basic attributes, he commands, before the first class change. These basic options are physique, spirit, luck, and reaction. Physique determines strength, stamina, and damage resistance, while spirit governs skills and massive mana pool required to execute incredibly high-level combat abilities. He wants his slaps boosted by both physique and spirit. Luck is just luck, and the puppet adds with a smug grin that high enough luck subtly boosts clear rates. And boss drops, reaction handles danger perception, intuition, and combat reflexes. He naturally has maximum reaction, but his luck is at rock bottom. And any addition is wasted, so only physique and spirit are worth boosting. The puppet explains that initially, a single attribute can only go up to 6, and he must allocate points to ease the first dungeon. He raises his eyebrows, asking about levels and experience, but the guide covers its face, saying it absolutely cannot grant any. He pats its shoulder, acting like a reasonable Guy before casually mentioning that its clothes look pretty nice. A few minutes later, he finishes registration and leaves the dungeon holding the administrator's uniform, giving the puppet one last heavy slap on the way out as preemptive punishment. The stripped bear puppet barely registers the words, only smiling formulaically and waving him out like a greeter. Once he leaves, it waves its arms in pure fury. Several dark red light screens materialize out of nowhere, covered in endless code in his personal data box as it crows about a single piece of code. It can alter to raise his dungeon difficulty, promising a nightmare that no agent face a living hell no agent has ever seen. It pushes data streams toward his box and the streams instantly shatter into wisps of smoke, like water droplets on a hot plate, and vanish. It freezes and collapses, screaming to know who he is, concluding that he already knew it would do this and did not care. He wakes from the chair and asks how long it has been. Moonyan softly replies, 3 minutes, explaining that time inside is not equal to time outside. She asks how he feels and offers medication, but he thanks her. She unfastens the iron rings and brings a glass cup and a small basin to rinse. The mouth guard, the perfectly fine glass, suddenly shatters in his hand, making everyone in the office turn, including Wang Ba, who was busy flirting with a young lady. He laughs that another newcomer dumped points into physique, claiming that shattered glass means at least 4. He looks at his hand, realizing the real influence of Mystic Realm attributes on reality. No wonder O-Sun could pinch a heavy cleaver between 2 fingers. Brother Ba expects 5 or 6 in physique, not even mentioning talent or skill, because most newcomers get neither. A man in small, round sunglasses walks over. Wang Ba introduces him as the prophet, the very guy who predicted his sudden appearance at the police station. He introduces himself as Obing, adding that he can change jobs after his agent level reaches 10. Brother Ba cuts him off, asking how many attributes he actually got. He calmly tells them 12 initial attributes, 1 talent, 1 skill, and pulls a jacket from his inventory, adding that the puppet practically insisted he take its clothes. The 3 are instantly silenced. The prophet asks if he really just went to register. He spreads his hands. He says it looks like a flat-out robbery. Wang Ba declares this a record-breaking event and says they must report to the president at once. He sits in a private conference room with the blinds tightly drawn. In less than half an hour, the entire Huangliang branch knows that a newcomer has broken the record with 12 attributes: a skill, a talent, and equipment. Brother Ba reports this directly to the Huangliang president, who arrives in person. While they wait, he explains the national regulator is the Department of Supernatural Abilities, complete with provincial. Local operations are run by groups like the Bakery Association. Their Huangliang branch alone manages 3 adjacent cities. All supernatural matters in those regions are their direct responsibility. Li Rui asks if the president leads all players in those cities. Wang Bo nods but warns the rookie to watch his mouth. He clearly doubts the kid knows his limits. Then, the president enters. She is a sharp, neat woman in her 50s who sacrificed friendliness for capability. She wanted to meet the famous record-breaking rookie in person. Li Rui greets her politely and asks for her name, causing instant panic. Wang Bo deeply regrets not warning him. Smiling, she says her name is Oh Meng Yang. He happily calls himself Little Li, suggesting he should call her sister Meng instead. Wang Bo just stares at the floor. She is old enough to be his mother. But she keeps smiling, praising his bold, lively spirit. She tells Wang Bo to teach everyone this exact attitude. Suddenly, a secretary rushes in. The other team leaders are here. Wang Bo knows they want to poach the kid. 5 leaders instantly crowd into the room. Oh Meng Yang asks Li Rui to explain his run. Without any shame, he proudly explains how he beat the administrator. He details his devastating shoulder strikes and brutal tiger combos. Complete destruction, pinning the boss down and issuing bold threats. Everyone is speechless. A red-haired leader asks Wang if he warned the kid. Oh Meng Yang tells him to check the global intranet for similar incidents. The secretary reports only 5 such cases in history. The foreign data is classified, and the local file is highly secret. But here is the thing, every single one of those agents is dead. Li Rui frowns, asking why they would die in a mere game. Oh Meng Yang explains that these mystic realms are deadly, pointing to his gear. It has an eternal tag, but greedy people always find a way. If he dies inside a dungeon, he simply loses equipment and experience. But dying in the real world is a completely different story. Other agents can literally steal his items directly through the imprint. Li Rui nods to show he understands, but asks again about the dead troublemakers. The leaders suddenly realize why he dared to attack the administrator. As a cursed orphan, hesitation would have killed him long ago. That survival instinct kept him alive. She warns him there is still much to learn. Virtual death is standard failure, but sometimes it spills into reality. She shares a classic case, a powerful leader named Im Hyung. He was a level 69 agent, leading a major province association. He challenged a high-tier dungeon and met a supreme underworld boss. He fought bravely but lost. His soul was instantly captured. Trapped in a blazing array, 10 years have passed since then. Today he remains brain-dead, kept alive only by a rare magic elixir. Talk about a brutal system. Even minor accidents will end your life. She stares at him. He threatened the administrator, meaning his next trial is doomed. The difficulty will be off the charts. Survival is the absolute best he can hope for. There will be no levels, no gains, only endless failures. She asks who is ready. Wang Ba wants little Li. The red-haired leader excuses herself. A high difficulty field mission, she claims. The thin doctor has surgery. The muscular gym owner points to his pregnant wife. Wang Ba slams the table. He will do it. Meng Yang grants him temporary access to the main headquarters database and tells him to break a record, become the first agent to threaten the administrator and survive. Right then his imprint shifts. Unreal, demon wind. Temple at 10 stars. Countdown, 167 hours, 59 minutes. The leaders silently agree. Giving up is a choice. Wang Ba slumps in his chair. Twitching, Meng Yang pats his shoulder. He leaves with some empty platitudes. Only Wang Ba and he remain. 10 stars is the absolute max. Difficulty, the higher the stars, the higher the risk of actual brain death. Given his past 19 years of bad luck, of course his first dungeon would be max. All 10 stars are currently white. They show the difficulty. Ceiling not active triggers. Play it careful and he might not light them. Training starts tomorrow. He protests. He never agreed to join. Wang Ba hits him with a base salary of 6,000 a month, great commissions, full benefits, top-tier housing fund, and best of all, most days, no need to even step in the office. Still, the game is mandatory. It carries death risk. A solid official organization with full logistical backup is absolutely necessary. Outlaws hunt solo players for gear. Only complete fools fight entirely alone. Paperwork done. He is now an official intern agent. Wang Ba tells him to call the guard upon arrival. Ask for room 1001, he says. To attend classes tomorrow, then train in the evening. Meng Yang previously told him class was optional. Wang Ba calls that pure nonsense. He is also a singing teacher at Sion Senior University. Even Chairwoman O has her own day job, and the red-haired leader is a famous painter. From his name to his looks, the guy is pure contrast. Once Li Rui leaves, Wang Ba's face darkens. Honestly, all those fancy benefits mean nothing if he cannot survive. He grabs a taxi home. He still has to attend university. Chairwoman O is highly proactive, and lacking a degree would hurt his career. More than that, his parents' dream was for him to graduate. As for that 10-star demon Wind Temple, he is not stressing. For over a decade, his life has always been at max difficulty. At least he has a powerhouse starting account with a perfect beginning. He slides his diary into the drawer after writing his parents a note about the job. With supernatural powers, even a speeding dump truck cannot kill him. Now, after classes, he heads to Gukdong building, finding Wang Ba in a small conference room. The bald man stands at the front with 3 others. Sun Xian, the red-haired painter, leader of Action Group 1 at level 28. Zhou Mujai, the sickly pale doctor, leader of Group 2 at 27. Ho Derry, muscular gym owner, leader of Group 3 at 29. And Wang Ba, popular singing teacher, also 28. They all backed out seeing his high dungeon difficulty, but Wang Ba somehow convinced them to help train him. He hands him a notebook. Tonight is all about theoretical knowledge. Sun Xian's lesson starts. Dungeon levels follow agent levels. 5 levels make 1 tier, so level 1 agent faces level 1 to 5 dungeons, unless they are extremely unlucky. The highest enemy or friendly non-player character he encounters is level 5. That phrase makes his eyelid twitch. Zhou Mujai's slides explain that the unlucky might encounter world non-player characters with levels far exceeding the dungeon limits who wander between dungeons and retain their memories, and meeting them at level 1 likely means a violent death. Hoderi takes the stage. In a black sports vest, every time he triggers a new random or hidden event. White star turns black, and if all 10 go black, the dungeon reaches true maximum. Difficulty, he proposes keeping black stars below 5 and tells him after. They're training unless he is exceptionally unlucky, he generally will. Not light up 10, he slams his pen down, asking what unlucky guys ever did to him. After a night of training, he has mastered all the knowledge a new agent needs. The others leave and Wang Ba drives him home, in the underground parking lot sits a red convertible sports car with golden flames on the sides. He says his 1.5 million won car should get him home in 20 minutes. These Mystic Realm agents are quite rich. Yu Sunseon wears nothing but designer brands, not to mention Hoderi's gym and Joe Mujai's medical practice. He asks Wang Ba how. He says making money as an agent is not difficult. The high income simply matches the huge risks. The most important job is dealing with what they call a reality overlap, the Mystic Realm's supernatural power appearing in the real world. Last night, the Wangmun Expressway was closed for 2 hours due to sudden dense fog, summoned by their association's rain caller to isolate ordinary people, while Brother O's team handled a level 15. Mystic Realm creatures descending into reality keep the same mechanisms, so they drop materials and equipment. Non-soulbone drops can be handed over and the department pays compensation. Ordinary materials a few thousand to tens of thousands, high-grade ones higher, non-soulboned equipment is worth a lot. He finally understands why these people are rich. Even his 140 square meter apartment was bought with assignment rewards. He is already planning how to make monsters drop more items, and Wang Ba catches a glimpse of his wicked smile and feels a chill. He asks when he can participate. Wang Ba says he needs level 10, a class change, and to clear demon Wind Temple first. He drops him off. The old gatekeeper whose tire valve he once stole stops him, saying his grandpa Wu knows that car is worth 400,000 or 500,000. He gives a dry laugh and says it belongs to his boss. Wang Ba's car is too flashy for a rundown residential area, inviting some pretty awkward misunderstandings. Kind of misunderstanding. Upstairs, he studies his notes until well past midnight. The next day is the weekend, so he buys several large dumbbells, not for exercise but to get used to his newly increased strength. As he handles tens of pounds in the living room, the doorbell rings. It is Officer Wang Hua, who has always looked after him. On his day off, his aunt having sent meat, he hands him a bag of prime ribs, over $21 a pound, at least 5 or 6 pounds, and mentions he is being seconded to Chan Wang Town for a month starting tomorrow. Telling him to behave and to ask his aunt for anything, he heads to Gupdong for training. Before he even reaches the conference room, he sees the leaders gathered around a computer with Moon Hyan, O Bing, and O Sun back from his. The atmosphere in the room is heavy. Wang Bo tells him he cannot help because the one in deep trouble is him. They investigated the Demon Wind Temple and confirmed it is an uncleared dungeon, typically a group-style instance, where multiple players enter, but they verified he is the only one going. Joe Muji admits they have zero info. Hoderi adds a warning. Every guild in the country now knows a rookie pulled a 10-star dungeon, and rivals are just waiting to laugh at him. Moon Yan snaps. She barks that they are going too far. Is there no good news? O-sun says everyone is grateful for his act of beating the administrator. They even wrote a tribute poem about him on the forum. Beating the puppet makes him a hero, looting makes him brave, but facing a 10-star dungeon fills Korea with sorrow. Their branch president wrote it. Li Rui secretly groans. It literally sounds like he is already a dead man. Wang Bo slams the table to stop the poetry and demands a real solution. Joe Muji offers to book a hospital bed for resuscitation if he passes out. O-sun laughs that even failing counts as clearing if he stays conscious. Wang Bo calls that pure coping and asks for his thoughts. Li Rui just grins and snaps back that he hopes his hospital bed comes with a pretty nurse. Moonyan pouts and asks if she is not pretty enough since she studied nursing. Wang Bo cries internally. He is the only normal person in this room. Days pass with under 24 hours left. The tension is unreal. Moonyan bursts in wearing a floral dress, shouting she found some info. She asked the Hyun Ryong Association about the ancient temple. Apparently someone entered it 8 years ago, and it is survival only. No puzzles or monsters, just surviving a designated zone long enough. The last team only lasted 5 minutes before wiping. Even though their souls survived, Lee Rui knows relying on luck is a gamble. He realizes that if soul protection relies on luck, he is dead meat. Meanwhile, far away at the Dongjium branch, Oh Mengyang opens a file. Reading Wang Bo's report, her branch president asks why she looks so grim. Chairman Song, a level 75 powerhouse, listens as she warns him about the temple. A 10-star instance is incredibly dangerous to attempt, he sighs heavily. Since it is level 1 to 5, only inexperienced rookies ever go inside. He says Lee Rui will just be a tragic warning, forget him. But she wants to use a soul-embracing remnant branch to protect the boy. It is a legendary item, but she feels this kid has a unique aura. She is certain he will be extraordinary, Chairman Song tells her to decide. He lets her handle the Hwang Ryong branch, having too many other worries. He cannot stress over one rookie unless that reckless kid shocks him. 10 minutes before the entrance, Wang Bo and the others crowd around him. Even his senior instructors have arrived. Ho Derry gives him final advice. Use your brain, limit the black stars, and trigger fewer events. Lee Rui salutes. He tells him he understands completely. The timer hits 0, sending him in. His first official instance, the deadly 10-star Demon Wind Temple, thunder rumbles. Thunder echoes from a heavy sky. Below him stands the massive, ominous temple. Eerie wails drift out. The system announces the dungeon is the demon. Wind Temple, the main quest is to survive inside for 5 hours, rewarding 700 experience points and 3 free attribute points, these allocatable. Points are incredibly useful, and 700 experience is generous since leveling. From 1 to 2 only takes 300. He spots a glowing circle 2 meters wide on the cracked floor tiles. He scans the entrance carefully. There is no name. Plaque only weeds, cracked wooden pillars, and a rusty incense burner. No. Obvious danger lurks before the timer starts. Before stepping over, he pulls the administrator's jacket from his inventory. Item level 1, unique quality. Defense +6, and in effect making his slaps look cooler. With eternal durability, for a level 1 item, that defense is massive since a normal level 1 item only adds 2 or 3. He tested it earlier with a fruit knife producing only sparks. Wearing it makes him look like a delivery boy, but he zips it up and steps into the starting circle. The heavy main gate slams shut, a faint green light sealing the exit entirely. Dim, shadowy corridors stretch to both the left and right, with a grand hall ahead lit by burning white candles. It holds a strange statue. 5 minutes pass and a sharp sense of danger hits him. His instincts warn that all 3 paths are equally dangerous, but moving is better than waiting, so he dashes straight into the main hall the instant he crosses. Countless sharp spears erupt from the ground behind him, completely riddling the courtyard with holes, 0 blind spots. This is the deadly trap that killed the 4-person team in 5 minutes. The statue is a golden Buddha with its smiling face carved away, replaced by a crying face painted in dark red. The candles flicker, die out, and a freezing breath touches the back of his neck. He quickly sidesteps. A figure at least 2 meters tall stands there, snake-headed and human-bodied, with blood red eyes, a tattered monk robe, and sharp claws slashing empty air. He stays calm and counterattacks immediately. Whatever this monster is, he will beat it down first and ask questions later. He steps forward, right palm poised, as faint blue lines light up along his veins. Slap skill activated. The serpent-headed demonic monk flicks its tongue, blurring into an afterimage and charging from the side, chilling killing intent. Warns him it is targeting his ribs. He twists his body, evades the decayed hand, and unleashes a massive slap mid-jump. A critical hit. The slap sends the monster's head flying as he backflips away from the spraying black blood. No other level 5 agent in this temple would have survived that brutal ambush. None of them possess his insane senses, but wait, thick liquid suddenly drips near his foot. At least 8 more demonic monks cling to the rafters, bodies twisted, eyes burning, staring down like hungry diners eyeing a prize. A rare random event triggers. The system demands he eliminate every single serpent-headed demonic monk to survive. Reward is 200 experience, 2 attribute points, and 1 random item. Immediately, the front and back doors seal shut in green light. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, Wang Ba asks Moon Yan if she contacted her cousin at the Haiyan Ryong Association. she confirms it is a distant relative she rarely sees. Wang Ba sighs, wishing he could have survived longer. Moon Yan watches the imprint on our hero's hand with deep worry. Oh Bing points out a change. 1 white star is slowly turning pitch black. Wang Ba notes that only 1 star remains. Oh Sun repeats Ho Derry's logic. Keeping it under 5 stars still offers hope. But Wang Ba admits that was a total lie just to calm him down. In reality, a level 1 rookie in a 10-star dungeon can only survive with 3 black stars or fewer. Far away at the Haiyan Ryang headquarters in northern Korea, 4 veteran agents who survived Demon Wind Temple 8 years ago, now 30 years old and level 20. Scoff that the kid won't even clear the first stage alone. He's basically done for. After offending the administrator, inside the kid is still level 1, but his level 1 is built different, with 12 extra attribute points stacked on spirit and physique on top of skills and gear. Normal players only get 4 or 5 points in the starting zone without any extra bonuses, followed by 3 per level, and gaining special talents before their level 10 class promotion is incredibly rare. Standard level 3 player only has about 10 points, so while he looks like level 1, he's actually pulling top-tier level 3 stats against these level 2, serpent-headed demonic monks, crushing them completely. They fall. The dungeon settles, all targets dead, experience plus 200, new attribute points and a common spirit potion. This single event hands him a massive boost, more than half a level expected. Since his trash luck rarely drops anything good, he allocates the 2 new points into physique and spirit, downs the potion, and just minutes later, a premonition hits. He bolts just as the hall collapses behind him, revealing a massive pit packed with human bones. Monasteries are usually built for monks to train, but temples worship gods or ancestors. Looking at these skeletons, he senses this place worships something dark. Out in the courtyard, killer intent flares again. A monk in a bamboo hat drops from above, human face, but a warped, twisted body. Hunched and bow-legged, he scratches his chin, asking if the guy needs calcium. The monk pulls a heavy iron staff and strikes the stone ground. He has better speed and strength than the snake monks, but weaker stealth, making them roughly equal. Skipping the slap, he relies on perception and 7 physique points to fight head-on. The entire courtyard echoes with impacts and shattered brick walls. The demonic monk crashes down, and he instantly snatches up the dropped staff. Strange silhouettes materialize along the high walls, an entire mob of bamboo hat monks. A random event triggers an ambush from 10 sides. Eradicate all twisted bone monks and survive. Rewards 250 experience, 2 points, and a random item. The weapon lacks an attribute panel, but wielding it with his right hand doesn't stop him from landing savage left-handed slaps. The exits are open, meaning he could flee, but running only invites the next wave. Clearing this mob will push him to level 2. Just 10 minutes in, outside, Moon urges old Wang to move quickly, 2 stars already. Shining. Wang Ba's phone rings. It's Chairwoman Oh. He answers, stating his time inside won't pass 30 minutes, then gasps as 3 black stars light up. Deep inside, the last twisted bone monk is cornered and finished. All targets dead. Experience plus 250, stats, and a bottle of golden sword medicine. Level up, new stats. Leveling up automatically restores his body, but before he can even review his gains, blood-red lightning strikes the massive pit of bones. A towering skeletal figure rises from the depths, upper torso level. With the shattered ground, the scattered skeletons assemble into a colossal white bone monster. Vibrating with heavy killing intent, he launches straight toward its massive skull, shouting that monster is still posing. Time for a slap. He steps onto the giant's body and leaps, skill patterns glowing bright on his palm. The head is as tall as a person. Every hit counts. He instantly allocates 2 event points plus 3 from leveling, dumping everything into physique. At level 2, 13 physique points rival level 4 or 5 agents. A random event triggers live sacrifice. Deliver the deceased souls. The reward is experience, 400 skill points plus 1 random quality piece of gear. This specific reward marks an elite monster, likely a high difficulty boss meant for an entire team. A critical hit lands on its face. The giant stumbles, waving its arms wildly. He dodges, marveling that as an elite it survives his critical strike. Serpent-headed beasts or twisted bone monks would have died instantly, but this monster regains posture and ferocious bone claws descend fast, sweeping across a wide range. It is almost impossible to dodge. His instinct targets the safest path. Just as he reaches full speed, a red paper appears. Right in front of the giant claw, looking like a talisman, brilliant golden light erupts, transforming into golden lightning with an aura completely different from that bloody heavenly lightning, roaring straight toward the giant. The giant, which took his direct hit with barely any damage, instantly vanishes into dust. The clearing dust reveals an old man with white hair and beard in yellow and purple Taoist robes, holding a black wooden, silver-threaded whisk in his right hand. Although he looks close to death, his eyes remain exceptionally clear. Rui is furious. Why is the old Taoist stealing his kill? Then a notification arrives. Deceased souls delivered, experience plus 400, plus new attribute points. His anger turns to joy at lightning speed. He quickly greets him as senior Taoist, praising his impressive methods. The priest suddenly flickers across the distance, instantly asking why a young benefactor is here alone. That Unjong temple used to be bustling but is now full of danger, so the place's real name is Unjong Temple. This old man seems to know a lot, probably a fixed non-player character far stronger than himself, definitely not an enemy to make, Rui tells him. He saw the place filled with evil energy and came hoping to offer some meager assistance. The priest nods, introducing himself as Master Chong Hio of Sinso Palace, and asks his name. He replies Li Rui. The priest smiles, noting Rui means fortune and that the young hero must be blessed, advising him to leave soon. He looks at the temple gate and freezes. The heavy wooden gate, once sealed by the mystic barrier, is wide open, the green light completely gone. Team leader Joe previously explained that those who cross dungeons and transcend the underlying rules are actually the world's non-player characters. This old Taoist is a high-level master. Joe Muji said to stay far away from them. Stay away his foot. Since he has to stay here, he might as well cling to this powerful figure. Rui cups his fists, declaring this place is too fraught with danger for him to leave. The elder all alone, the master admits that at first he thought Rui looked quite fierce. Realizing now he judged a book by its cover, apparently high-level non-player characters are somewhat immune to his negative initial favorability and high startle debuff. Checking his panel, he sees the skill point from the sacrifice event can be added to Slap. The Slap skill is now at level 2, boosting his basic physical attacks based on physique and spirit. Striking the face triggers an automatic critical hit, with a 5% damage bonus and a basic concussion, leveling only. Stats, skills, and talents all get boosted through quests and rare events. Random encounters also help. That white bone giant had level 4 strength, giving him a skill point to upgrade his stun slap ability further. He scores a common level 3 cloth wristband for extra defense. It is only temporary, but he equips it before questioning the Taoist. The priest says that to exorcise evil, they must strike the main source. Decades ago, Unjong Temple was a thriving sanctuary for peaceful monks. But for mysterious reasons, it turned into a dark, rotting wasteland. These piled-up bones prove some sick ritual is taking place. A powerful dark entity has to be behind this massive sacrifice. Whether it is a demon or a dark mage, they must crush it. Our hero agrees, ready to purge this place of all danger. Wait, something is here. Our guy senses the danger first. Dark energy is swarming the spirit plane, shocking the old priest. He is genuinely impressed that a level 2 rookie detected this creeping malice so quickly. The master warns him to run, since the big boss knows they are here. This dark force is gathering strength rapidly, making escape their only option. But our guy refuses to back down, claiming they are sworn brothers now. Before Master Chunyo can even process this sudden brotherhood, chaos strikes. A dark, violent gale tears through the courtyard, collapsing the ancient walls. Massive bone pits burst open, unleashing twisted, mutated monk monsters. Demonic priests and corrupted ghouls swarm out from every single corner. They howl for blood, but our guy actually smiles at his luck. Bringing this high-level priest triggered the ultimate farming spot. Still, a single stray area attack will absolutely vaporize a level 2 rookie. He warns the priest to brace himself before making a wild move. Our guy literally hoists Master Chunyo right onto his shoulder. Staying glued to this overpowered master is the best survival strategy. It works. Carrying a living shield is basically level 4 armor. He had a whole battle plan ready, but now he is just going along for the ride. His head is spinning despite his legendary cultivation and esteemed status. Nobody back home ever dared to treat him with such utter disrespect. Worse yet, this crazy kid is running straight into the danger zone. The priest yells that while the gesture is sweet, they are going the wrong way. Why charge directly at the demons? But our guy has calculated everything. Normal players run away, but he sees a massive exploit here. This is his first dungeon, and Master Chunyo is basically a walking cheat code. How could a low-level dungeon possibly threaten a legendary non-player character? So he charges. He runs straight to where the monsters are thickest. If this dungeon wants to take his life, he will just destroy everything first. He tells the dizzy Taoist that the most dangerous place is always the safest. And logically, a safer area means fewer monsters left to ambush them later. Classic gamer logic, the old priest cannot wrap his head around it. Still, our guy runs right up to a massive, dark golden statue. It stands 3 zhang tall, shooting purple lightning from its eyes as he spins. He lifts the priest to meet the oncoming attack. Fortunately, Master Chong Hao is an honest man. And is not angered. He waves his whisk, sending golden light to collide with the purple. Lightning, suddenly 2 talismans, one red and one yellow, fly straight at the statue. The yellow transforms into invisible ropes that trap it. The red surges with lightning that shatters it. System notifications stream in. Malevolent golden statue event. Survive 5 minutes completed. The reward is 350 experience points and 2 attribute points plus random equipment. He has found a path to riches. His unlucky constitution differs from others. Events that are random for them are absolutely inevitable. For him, triggered events are harder, but completing them yields rich rewards. If they pass 100% of the time, it is bad luck, but if they pass 100% of the time, it is a blessing. He is carrying a non-player character who is almost invincible here, equivalent to a max-level expert. Arriving in the newbie village, he encourages the priest, saying they are both amazing and carries him into the next group. They pass through crumbling archways and rubble. With his perception, he carves a path. Master Chong Hao has no airs at all, letting the young man carry him, while constantly casting talismans to repel encircling creatures. Soon, almost all of the summoned malevolent spirits are attracted, quickly squeezing together. An 18 demon monks array is triggered. Survive 3 minutes. Pilgrim resentful souls. Great Black Buddha Mother. Everything is triggered. Over and over, side quests keep triggering. Back in the support room, Wang Ba finally calms down. Blaming himself for being too agitated, he has watched many colleagues die and clenches his fists, just like in every life or death moment. Moon Yan gasps that the situation has changed again. Wang Ba tells her to stay steady, then casts his gaze toward his hand. And his vision goes completely black. 10 black stars appear almost simultaneously. Joe Yuji says the young man must have panicked, blindly rushing and pulling all the monsters, so there is no need to keep observing. Ho Dari sighs, calling it a pity because he really liked this kid. Only O-sun, the lowest in position, says unwillingly that he might hold on since the imprint has not disappeared, which means he has not failed yet. After the Mystic Realm determines the dungeon, only when the main story ends does the name disappear. Wang Ba pats his shoulder and tells him to let it go. Suddenly, a woman in professional attire walks in. Secretary Jin Omayung, young secretary. She hands Wang Ba a brocade box containing the president's personal soul-embracing remnant branch, asking the support team to turn it into a soul-embracing potion to be injected at the first sign of soul dissipation. Even among legendary materials, items capable of being brought out and protecting the soul are extremely rare. Oh, Mayang Young probably only has this single one. Wang Ba had not expected her to value this newcomer so highly. What no one could imagine is that inside, the top-tier mount, who is our protagonist, is carrying Master Chong Hao and running wild through Demon Wind Temple, sometimes moving in a Z-shape, sometimes a person shape, looking utterly absurd. He has discovered that Demon Wind Temple is inherently flawed in design, given the extreme difficulty and number of monsters and traps. A level 1 to 5 agent has no chance unless a dozen or 20 entered at once. He decides none are getting away and that he will kill them all. At first, he dashes left and right to evade and lure. Otherwise, not all events would trigger. Once more than half are dead, the tide finally turns, the most insidious. Those serpent-headed demonic monks start fleeing. He cannot let them get away. If they escape, his mission fails, so he hoists the old priest up and starts a frantic chase. Just like a sheepdog herding sheep, their weaker stats could never keep up. The noise settles. A group of twisted bone monks huddle, trembling. They cower inside a solitary courtyard room. Suddenly, heavy blows shatter the wall. Punching a gaping hole through, the terrifying master peers in, greeting them politely. Then a massive burst of golden lightning turns every last survivor to ash. Target eliminated, Phase 3 complete, plus 350 experience. 1 attribute point gained, 2 random items added, rewards are getting much bigger. Honestly, his progression is getting pretty insane. He is almost level 6 now. The main quest to survive for 5 hours is still active, though. But with every single monster dead, he just has to wait. Suddenly, a voice on his shoulder speaks up, asking to be put down. He quickly apologizes. Explaining he was just worried about his safety, Master Chang Hyo only smiles, shaking his head at his unconventional methods, yet he praises his noble, chivalrous heart. Frankly, the hero was only focused on scouting, no heroic intent at all. His ruthless style simply made the old priest think he truly hates evil. He asks Master Chang Hyo what to do and where the ringleader is. The priest points out a thick, dark aura. Unyung Temple was clearly arranged long ago as a giant array of gathering evil. They must go inside. Master Chang Hyo flicks his flywisk, saying his face has no misfortune on it. Our hero disagrees, admitting he is incredibly unlucky, but they proceed anyway. Is entering dangerous. The master warns that drawing in the malevolent energy might be risky, but if he trusts him, they are safe. He walks over to the Spirit Bone Pagoda and kicks the door open. 10 empty floors. Absolutely no stairs. This tower is not for climbing. Its walls are covered in mystic scriptures. Standing in the center, he notices strange spiral patterns. Master Chang Hyo instructs him to stand in a very specific position. With a swift 2-finger flick, several golden talismans materialize, floating tightly around him. Do not move, the priest warns him, explaining it is much safer inside. He exits and summons a talisman-covered wooden sword straight from the air. He begins chanting. The talismans flutter away, wind howls, dark clouds above the temple violently stir. Pointing his sword, he forces the massive malevolent energy to condense. Converging at the blade, the earth shakes, a mountain-sized black shadow gradually appears at the entrance. This giant monster roars out Master Chang Hyo's true name, Chu Hyun Hyo, absolutely furious about his destroyed formation. The old priest remains completely unfazed, calmly asking the giant shad if it is indeed Sun Xian. He lost a duel 40 years ago to Choi Guan for the northern emperorship of Pengdo. The priest never expected him to hide here, murdering innocent humans. Sun Xian snarls, claiming Choi Guan used dirty tricks to break his powerful cultivation. He swears to tear him into 10,000 pieces. This has nothing to do with Sinso Palace, but Master Chang Hyo insists that all living beings are connected to Sinso Palace. Golden light shoots into the sky, dispersing storm clouds as the shadow gathers its demonic energy. He channels energy from Demon Wind Temple to block it, but the wicked force disintegrates and the 30-foot-tall incarnation is pierced by a bright golden light dissipating within seconds. Master Chung Hyo exhales a ragged breath as the powerful formation has drained his mental energy. He looks back to call the boy out, but his face suddenly changes as he curses. It is the mother-son curse, Pengdo's vile trick. He rushes inside the pagoda and sees him lying on the ground, brows tight with dark energy, completely unconscious. Within the boy's mind, the shadow incarnation of Sun Xian is drifting, musing that the old man is indeed formidable. But that does not matter. He has waited decades for a heavenly calamity body to arrive. Once he takes over the boy's soul, he will awaken. When the kid grows up, he will trigger a dark fate to fully reincarnate himself and exact revenge. He sees the young man's spirit floating helplessly in the sea of consciousness, just like a lamb before a hungry tiger. He charges toward the faint white light. But just as his wicked scheme is about to succeed, a fierce storm of dark energy erupts from the boy's forehead. It is cold malevolence. But compared to the intruder's force, it is vastly more domineering. That furious power, darker than pitch black, transforms into a heavily armored general standing protectively, coldly staring down the scheming villain. With a swing of his spear, he unleashes 10,000 feet of chilling light. Sun Xian's consciousness has no time to react and screams as it vanishes. The general turns back into dark energy, returning to the boy's soul. Through his forehead, with a painful groan, he opens his eyes in a warm embrace, looking up at the old Taoist's aged face. His system status bar shows a dozen active buffs. The master is thrilled he woke up on his own, praising his incredible fortune. he explains how he defeated Sun Chuan. In the dark curse, the boy's face darkens. He only closed his eyes for a second, completely unaware of the invasion. The master admits he only knows offensive magic and was tricked. Thankfully, the boy woke up. Even if the master worries about soul damage, checking his system, he only sees positive buffs with absolutely no side effects, leaving him deeply relieved. This is just a virtual dungeon. Master Chung Hyo says he has urgent business and must go. Feeling guilty for putting the kid in danger, he offers a legendary cultivation manual to help shield his mind from harm. He gently presses his palm to the boy's forehead, sending a stream of data. It is the Shinso Banrei Heart Sutra at level 1, rarity. Legendary, this active skill temporarily boosts his movement and thinking speed. And it is permanent, a golden legend. This upgrade will be massive. The boy is absolutely thrilled, especially since his current inventory is filled with nothing but common items. Curiously, his slap skill lacks a rating. The master warns him that cultivation is hard, inviting him to Shinso Palace should he face trouble, handing over the token of Chu Hyan Hyo. It looks incredibly valuable, though sadly, it is not equipable gear. He recalls Oh Mengyang mentioning a vice president with a sealed soul. The Pengdo Underworld Emperor title proves Pengdo is extremely dangerous. Sun Chuan originally came from Pengdo to compete for Northern Underworld Emperor years ago, but was instantly defeated by Chung Hyo, meaning the old Taoist has at least Underworld Emperor power. Clearly, Shinso Palace is just as terrifying. Though separate, these dungeons share one single worldview, and with this token, Li Rui might encounter Shinso Palace elites in other zones. Right after pocketing the token, he realizes the old Taoist vanished silently. Over 3 hours remain on the timer, yet Sun Shin died with no settlement. Suddenly, a system notification flashes. An unknown error occurred because unupdated boss data is lost. The mystic realm is collapsing, and all connections end in 30 seconds. Li Rui stands frozen in shock. Sun Shin was not meant to appear yet, but he forced the encounter. Honestly, the boss got a raw deal here. Hiding for ages, only to be dragged out, thrashed, and killed. Quite the tragic end for an Underworld Emperor candidate. Thankfully, the random rewards are far more generous. Meanwhile, on the 12th floor of Gupdung Building, the tension is thick. Several leaders departed after seeing those 10 black stars. Moon Young is still holding Li Rui's hand, staring at his imprint. Oh Sun looks completely relaxed since he is younger and only agent level 15. Suddenly, Moon Young's sharp gasp breaks the heavy silence. It is over, Wang. Ba and Oh Sun jump up, asking if he finally woke. She quietly shakes her head. Oh Bing offers to order the soul-embracing medicine and heads for the door, but freezes in his tracks because he sees Li Rui's arm move. The young man takes a deep breath and wakes. Moon Young unfastens his metal buckles, brings hot water and asks if he feels all right. Fully awake, he shakes his head. Oh Sun laughs, bragging that a 10-star dungeon does not always destroy a soul. Wang Ba snorts at his pride, incredibly relieved that Li Rui did not die. But then he asks if Li Rui failed the run and barely survived. Li Rui confidently smiles, suggesting he might have actually cleared the dungeon. They yell in complete disbelief, calling it impossible for a lone level 1 rookie. Li Rui chuckles, pointing out that he is already level 6 now. The large number on his imprint blurs and shifts, forming a clear 6. Everyone stands completely dumbfounded. Talk about a legendary flex, Wang Ba immediately dials the line, demanding to know how they found out Li Rui cleared a 10-star dungeon. Moon Young introduces herself to Chairman Song, calling herself Little O. When he asks what is going on, she brings up Li Rui and the Demon Wind Temple, reminding him of the massive system error notification everyone received. She adds that Li Rui succeeded, reached level 6, and manipulated a non-player character to clear all events and defeat a boss from a future game version. Triggering the error, the phone goes dead silent for a full 10 seconds, a highly unusual pause for Chairman Song. His tone turns deadly serious. He orders her to escalate Li Rui's profile, needing to present this to the association's top committee, who answers directly to the department. Moon Young cautions him to keep it quiet, deeply worried about other guilds poaching their new talent. Hanging up the phone, she lets out a massive sigh of relief. She already recognized Li Rui's incredible potential early on. A solid strategic move. If he can steadily rise to level 30, a representative from provincial headquarters will arrive to coordinate. Suddenly, a knock sounds. Young man delivers documents from President Jiang for her signature, alongside a quick briefing on the situation at each academy. Meanwhile, Rui cleared a dungeon and his salary shot up by 30%. His senior O-sun is as loud as ever, calling him Little Rui and declaring him part of his team. Surviving his first dungeon means he has been assigned to a group, the standard veteran and rookie pairing. Rui asks O-sun if they can run missions together when a reality overlap strikes. O-sun laughs, no way. First, he has to reach level 10 and complete his class advancement first. Rui argues his stats easily rival any level 10 agent. O-sun freezes in shock, but quickly counters that waiting for class advancement skills is safer. But Rui drops a bomb, he already has two. O-sun goes dead silent, bubbling with jealousy because he only has one himself. Out of pure frustration, he snaps in frustration. Rules are rules. Discipline is everything, he insists. He can only go at level 10. Rui shrugs. Within the agency, rules are rules, mostly because his senior is level 15 and Rui cannot beat him. Rui excuses himself to head back to school for exams. Sitting on the bus, he takes stock of his hard-earned loot, 8 spirit recovery potions and 10 golden ointments, highly practical items, but the golden ointment is temporary and only works inside active dungeons. There are also plenty of random consumable items and raw materials he cannot identify yet. Thankfully, Moonyan promised to teach him later. 4. Gear pieces, wrist guards, belt, boots, and trousers provide 15 defense points. In total, combined with his special jacket and 25 physique, he can now tank direct hits from a demonic monk with nothing but tiny scratches. Plus 1 skill point and a talent upgrade voucher. No rush to use them. The bus pulls up to the campus. Rui walks into a classroom where his basketball friends gathered for a group study session. Naturally, it is a sea of notebooks, highlighted textbooks, energy drinks, and everyone scrolling on their phones. A tall guy with a buzz cut lounging by the door calls out without looking up. He brought Rui's backpack, explaining that the crew played a quick mobile game while waiting. His name is Jiang Ho. Rui warns them all to start studying, unless they plan on failing. Unsurprisingly, nobody listens. Rui opens his books and secretly slips a small bottle from his inventory, a special junior memory enhancement potion. A puzzle dungeon item, but studying is its own kind of puzzle. After a few hours of intense cramming, Jiang Ho sighs, claiming Rui is rushing too fast. He has already swapped textbooks 3 times, meaning he cannot possibly remember anything. Rui casually claims he has. Jiang Ho laughs, calling it utter nonsense. Flipping the textbook open to test him, he asks how long a major shareholder must hold non-publicly issued shares. 36 months, Rui answers instantly. Stunned, Jiang Ho flips pages and asks if damage caused by a debtor's property qualifies as a common interest debt. Rui fires back a yes. Rattled, Jiang Ho starts picking random obscure details, but Rui nails every single question. Defeated, his friend accuses him of studying in secret. Rui laughs it off, though technically, his secret weapon was just a dungeon potion. In fact, Jiang Ho spent all week studying dungeon clearing. He says it is incredibly tough. Accepting his brother remembers everything is harder than forgetting it himself. He feels uneasy. So he proposes basketball. Rui declines. He can now punch straight through solid stone. Playing with them would just be bullying. Rui excuses himself with his part-time job. While Jiang Ho rounds up the others, a student mentions their new principal is a woman. Another classmate scoffs. That changes nothing. They still will not install air conditioning. A third suggesting it to her. She is brand new and wants reputation. The fourth tells him to go do it himself, but warn him about counselors. They walk along the greenway, dribbling their basketball. Suddenly, Jiang Ho tells everyone to stop. Dribbling along, midway, Jiang Ho stops. He tells everyone to turn right back. A few meters away, they spot school leaders chatting, including the law school dean. Several counselors are there too. As they pass, a gentle voice asks which department they are from. Jiang Ho steps forward, nervously answering that they are Class 1. He looks at his counselor for rescue. The counselor quickly explains their sports talent. He then tells Jiang Ho that this is their new school principal, Principal O. She warmly asks if they face any difficulties in their studies or daily life. She promises to help. Jiang Ho nervously mutters polite, perfunctory words of thanks. He looks to his counselor for aid, but the man cannot read eyes. Rui chimes in. With a cheeky smile, he tells Principal O about the dorms. They still have no air conditioning. The summer heat makes studying completely impossible. Rui speaks bluntly. He recognized her as Oh Mingyang, a powerful branch president. She stopped them because she recognized him. Seeing this, the dean quickly interjects. He claims the old dorms have a long history, but she waves her hand. Student housing is key, ventilation is poor, air conditioning must be installed. She orders him to implement this within a single week. Installed. Right during the summer vacation, the surrounding school leaders are completely puzzled by her. Sudden aggressive timeline, but they keep quiet. There is a clear understanding here. Rui thanks Principal O, and she leads her group away. She must take his words extremely seriously. It is her future performance on the line if she fails to keep him happy and he defects. It would be a massive loss. The groups separate. Jongho marvels at his sheer courage. The others immediately hail him as their hero. Rui laughs it off, telling them that hero is too much. Just call him dad. They instantly howl that he is an idiot. Soon, the group reaches the sports field. Rui does not play. While waiting for his bus, his phone rings. It is Du Yuying, Officer Wang's wife. He greets her warmly as auntie, asking if she is inviting him to dinner. She says yes, so he agrees and visits a nearby fruit shop. He buys some fresh mangosteens, knowing that Wang Hua's young daughter absolutely loves them. Now that he has money, he can slowly repay this kind family. He takes the bus, heads upstairs to their apartment, and knocks. A high school girl opens the door, happily greeting him as brother Rui. Her name is Wang Jia. A year younger than him, she instantly blushes red and nervously steps back. Acting extremely shy, Rui tells Jia she will be a senior soon and must study hard. He asks where her dad is. She says he is on duty in Ming Town and will not return until next month. Rui slaps his forehead, having completely forgotten. But as those words hit his ears, a strange sense of familiarity suddenly stirs. Reality. Before leaving the Gupdong building, he watched the Prophet O being make a sudden prediction. The next reality overlap would hit near Ming Town. He was instantly troubled. Will there be danger? If predicted, the strike team deploys early. If the zone is massive, police forces mobilize to support them. Mainly they clear out civilians, so everything should go smoothly. And yet right now, he just cannot shake a chilling, dangerous premonition. Du Yuyang walks out of the kitchen, wiping her hands, and says dinner is almost ready. He forces a smile and turns toward Wang Jia, who wants to linger. She cannot find an excuse to stay, so he tells her to study. She huffs silently. Her resentment rises as she walks to her room. Sliding the balcony door shut, he calls Brother O to report the Prophet's prediction. He explains that the reality overlap is heading straight for Ming Town. His contact confirms it will happen tonight, or by tomorrow at the latest. The first group handles this mission, but details are scarce, so do not ask. He warns him that non-level 10 agents cannot participate, so he hangs up. Frowning deeply, he tells his auntie that an urgent call just came through. He apologizes, but she chides him, asking what urgent business a kid has. Bound by strict confidentiality, he has to make up a quick excuse instead. He claims it is an academy issue that might actually ruin his graduation. She stops questioning and packs him some warm, steamed buns before he leaves. Buns in hand, he departs just as Wang Jia emerges to fill her cup. She asks where he went, but her mother explains it was school business. Annoyed, Wang Jia retreats to her room and slams the door shut. He flags down a taxi to Chungwang Town, almost 100 kilometers away. Ever since linking Chungwang Town to the reality overlap, he felt uneasy. Having faced danger since childhood, he takes these instincts very seriously. Still, he resolves not to get involved in any actual combat. He simply needs to ensure that Uncle Wang is completely safe. He calls Wang Hua, claiming he is visiting a classmate in Chungwang Town. His uncle answers, unknowingly confirming he is stationed with the 5th group. He plans to quietly check the area and retreat if things look safe. The glowing imprint on his left hand is safely hidden from ordinary eyes. Moon Yan used a special dungeon extract to completely conceal the mark. Ever since the Demon Wind Temple incident, the mystic realm has remained quiet. Right on cue, the taxi violently shakes for no apparent reason. The driver curses, slowing down before pulling over as the engine dies. He curses his classic bad luck, striking again at the worst moment. 90 minutes later, he gets out a few kilometers away from the team. Once the driver leaves, he scans the road and starts sprinting instantly. Running at top speed, he could easily smash Olympic athletic records. Two bad strict rules forbid agents from participating in ordinary sports. He reaches Wang Hua's post, instantly sensing a heavy, threatening, and unusual pressure. It feels exactly like the tension before the Demon Wind Temple battle. A young kid with a runny nose walks past, carrying a backpack. He asks the child if any police have been around the village. The kid stares greedily at the fresh buns in his hand. He barely resists smacking the brat. Instead, he hands them over. The brat points out that the officer is guarding Wudu Mountain. He is guarding the entrance. The kid mentions that his classmates claim the place is haunted, but he thinks they are foolish. He believes Ultraman lives. Inside, amused, the young man calls him mature, sends him away, and immediately dashes down a narrow path toward his goal. Meanwhile, Officer Wang Hua had been suddenly reassigned to Chengguang Town since he grew up there. When the transfer order finally came, the chief quickly put his name forward. He barely even knows Wang Chan. From the fifth group, with no room to object, he has spent days feeding mosquitoes. He and a local cadre are squatting by the roadside, devouring a watermelon. Their job is to guard the entrance. This cadre is Li Lu, an accountant. Dragged out here for his familiarity, he curiously asks Officer Wang what is really going on. Taking a massive bite of melon, Wang Hua mutters that he has no clue. Orders are to guard the place and ask 0 questions. Li Lu admits everyone is terrified, especially with the village elders claiming the peak is haunted. Wang Hua just rolls his eyes. Even if ghosts were real, he scoffs, SWAT would blast them. Why not claim Ultraman is hiding up there instead? Li Lu laughs sheepishly, and the two return to eating in silence. The crimson sun slowly dips below the horizon, painting the sky before childish laughter echoes nearby. Wang Hua snaps alert, spotting several children dashing up the slope and vanishing right into the trees. He drops his melon and sprints after them, yelling that trespassers just sneaked past. He has to stop those kids. Strangely, despite the perfectly clear visibility, where he could monitor every path, but those kids somehow slipped past. Talk about creepy. Grabbing his walkie-talkie, he barks into it, frantically calling Sector 17. To report the breach, he and Li Lu plunge deeper in pursuit, totally unaware their radio signal is dead. Arriving at the abandoned outpost, the protagonist finds discarded watermelon rinds scattered on the ground. He crouches low beside a crushed cigarette, stubbed out on a rind. Recognizing the brand Wang Hua smokes, he realizes his target was indeed right here moments ago. Evening falls and a cold, eerie fog begins to roll in. With a terrible, sinking feeling, he immediately charges forward without looking back. Honestly, his only priority right now is finding the officer who protected him. Still alive, right now, the potential rewards from this reality overlap mean absolutely nothing. On the far side of this massive mountain, the elite squad leader Yu Sanxian is personally leading her team. A scout suddenly reports that the creature they just defeated was a level 10 demon spirit, a dangerous pine tree possessed by a great root essence. Listening to the briefing, Yu Sanxian nods calmly. She notes the difficulty is low, ordering her team to wrap everything up within 2 hours since their patrol zone is absolutely massive and agents are scarce. According to official guidelines, only level 10 operatives can handle reality overlap missions, meaning everyone here has survived at least 10 dangerous dungeons. Moving forward with a careful sweep, they quickly clear out several more possessed host plants. She calls over a skilled tracker, asking if his detection skill is fully charged. He presses his palms together, releasing a soft white light that beams outward, sweeping the dark clearing before slowly fading. He smiles and reports that the anomalies are cleared, meaning they can head home. Still, Yu Sanxian orders another thorough search. Dying inside a reality overlap is permanent. As the squad leader, her anxiety runs high because every subordinate under her command. The level 10 rookie suddenly yells out, they found an epic tree demon. He thinks they are rich, but a veteran searcher just grumbles. It is cheap level 5 material, but just as they pack up, a SWAT officer reports that contact with Threat Zone 17 is completely gone. Yu Sanyon knows this is no accident. The rookie speaks up. The briefing mentioned a rare reality overlap when separate areas glitch at the exact same time. It is highly unusual. Constantly missed by veterans but spotted by rookies, she immediately orders reinforcements to Zone 17, telling the SWAT officer to blockade the corridor near the Huangshan 5th group, decisively telling him he may open fire on any potential threat. Meanwhile, Wang Wei and Li Lu lose track Of those kids in the deep forest, a strange mist rises. The sky darkens and trees twist. Wang Wei stops, realizing something is wrong. How could mere 7-year-olds run from it? Experienced officer like him, Li Lu, the village accountant, is already terrified. Wang Wei tells him they should retreat. As a veteran, he knows to play dumb and stay silent. Knows absolutely nothing. Li Lu turns to leave but freezes in shock, warning. The officer Wang Wei's expression turns grim. The mist has grown incredibly thick. This is a total nightmare. Creepy laughter of children echoes through the white void, inviting them to play hide and seek. They say they will count to 10. Creepy voices count down, adding that anyone they find gets hanged. Neither man has a gun, and they are far from any safe zone. He draws his baton and backs away, shielding Li Lu. Suddenly, those giggling voices shift right behind their ears, whispering that they found them and saying goodbye. Meanwhile, Wang Hui runs along the mountain path, entering the gray fog. He knows this fog has absolutely nothing to do with their rain caller. It was summoned by an otherworldly beast filled with malice. He throws on the administrator coat, knowing his other basic gear is useless out here. A sudden warning flares in his chest. He stomps his foot hard to kill his momentum and rolls clear. A massive branch crashes down where he was standing. Looking up, he sees a giant tree come alive like an ancient war beast. One wrong move now and Wang Hui is history. He immediately activates the Shinso Banra Heart Sutra. Electric arcs wrap around his body, turning him into a blur. Sharp branches stab at him, but cannot keep up with his newly amplified speed. He leaps high, dodging every strike, and instantly reaches the canopy to stare down at its withered human face. Instantly, his deadly slap is ready, blood vessels flaring. In his right hand, a sudden system notification pops up. Fusion successful. He has unlocked a temporary level 2 legendary skill called the Banrei Palm. This powerful strike unleashes a mixed attack boosted by physical physique and spirit, dealing a massive critical hit directly to the face. With lightning damage, this divine thunder technique easily suppresses vengeful spirits. He is completely shocked. Who knew a simple slap could be this strong? He fuses with the Heart Sutra, letting lightning surge wild through his body. He channels it right into his hand, slapping the tree monster with everything he has. The electric shock combines with a critical blow, blasting the monster's upper half apart. Just like that, a level 10 demon is instantly killed, even though he is only level 6. His high stats and new fused skill make it possible. He keeps moving forward, never looking back to check the loot. Along the way, 2 more tree demons appear. He drops them both instantly, but his mana bar is now dangerously close to empty. The Heart Sutra is incredibly strong, but it burns through energy. He chugs down mana potions. Drinking bottle after bottle, he activates another burst of speed, finally spotting 2 figures. Judging by the uniforms, one of them is Wang Hui, but his heart only sinks further. Both men are suspended high in the air, thick wooden branches wrapped tightly around their necks. They hang there. Cold dread washes over him, fearing they are already dead. He cannot bear the thought. Wang Hui had watched over him for so many years. To him, the man was basically a second father. If he died here like this, he could never accept it. He would not even know how to face Du Yu Yang or Wang Jia. Rushing forward, he tears the branches away and gently lowers both men to the ground. Their faces are purple, breaking the life-binding vines. He desperately checks for any sign of life. They still have heartbeats. He lets out a long, shaky breath and looks at Wang Hui. Seeing his friend's tightly furrowed brow, he can only imagine the terror they went through. He stands up, suddenly sensing a highly dangerous aura lurking right behind his back. A creepy voice calls out, "Play hide and seek with me, brother." He turns around slowly. Pure rage and crackling lightning surge through his body all at once, his blood boiling hot. He cannot tell which one is driving his fury. Meanwhile, level 28 Yu San approaches. As a skilled ranger, her swift step ability allows her to move at blinding speed. She practically skims across the forest canopy, arriving quickly at the sealed Area 17. Special police have cordoned off the zone. The commanding officer gives her a quick briefing. Only 2 officers were guarding the checkpoint, but Wang Hu and Li Lu are now missing. They left nothing but watermelon rinds. He mentions a 3rd set of footprints was found nearby. Hearing this, her heart skips a beat. Could an unauthorized player have slipped inside? She wonders if an illegal Mystic Zone agent or some rogue outlaw did this. Outlaws who can enter these zones without government oversight might have kidnapped the officers. Still, she doubts that is the case. Most high-level agents are fully registered. Nearly all active agents in major nations operate strictly under official government command. Rogue players usually stick to smaller, lawless countries. Here in Korea, it is rare. While there are occasional incidents, they almost never happen in heavily policed areas. Reality overlaps are always tightly guarded by the authorities and official agents. To be absolutely safe, she reports to the Bakery Association before heading inside. Equipping herself, she pulls a sleeve arrow and a dagger from her inventory. Inside a level 10 overlap, the monsters are weak, but she still moves carefully. This is standard procedure for any hunter who cannot sense killing intent. Before long, she reaches the first battle site and finds a slaughtered monster. A giant tree demon lies half destroyed, and her sharp ranger eyes scan the area. She notices immediately that this tough spirit beast was taken down instantly. She estimates their level is 10 or higher, but their class remains unclear. Countless magic classes use lightning, making it impossible to narrow down. Knowing this mysterious figure also fights the tree demons brings her some quick relief. Since they are both hunting the same monsters, this stranger probably is not evil. At least she hopes so. Pushing forward, she finds fresh traces of combat. Every single trace points to clean, effortless, instant kills. After taking a few more steps, she stumbles upon two unconscious bodies. They are still breathing. Scattered rope marks on the ground explain everything. The general picture is clear, leaving only one mystery: who saved them. Following the fresh path of destruction, the shocking sight ahead leaves her speechless. Dozens of dead beasts line the ground, creating a trail of absolute slaughter. Through the thinning fog ahead, a tall shadow looms. She commands him to freeze, identifying herself as a high-ranking agent. As an active field officer, she demands that the stranger state his name. But she is not taking any chances here, even if he seems friendly. She raises her sleeve weapon. Her hidden bow is highly lethal. A rare 6-star dungeon item, it fires devastating light arrows. Through the haze, she keeps the dangerous weapon aimed at him. Standard security protocol always dictates that an agent must protect her own safety first. Confronting her, Lee Rui panicked. The massive level gap between them was terrifying. A level 6 rookie stood no chance against a veteran level 28 agent. Back at the temple, Master Chung Hyo had destroyed the boss immediately. He had never faced high-level killing intent directly until this moment. The pressure was suffocating. He quickly yelled out, begging her not to shoot. She froze in complete shock, her mind struggling to process his voice. Overwhelmed with surprise, she lowered her weapon and called out his name. He calmly suggested rescuing Officer Wang and Li Lu before discussing anything else. She agreed automatically, only remembering her senior status a second later. Meanwhile, Brother Bao was at home, quietly watching a baking tutorial video. Then Yu Sunseon called, screaming that Li Rui had run into danger. The level 6 rookie had somehow wandered alone into a level 10 zone. She teased that she would gladly poach him if his leader was useless. Brother Bao knew instantly that the kid was safe and probably hunting. Playing the strict boss, he promised punishment before asking how he actually was. She complained sourly that the kid was currently busy gathering loot materials. He had cleared the entire sector, leaving Brother Bao completely speechless. Too stunned to celebrate, he told her to keep Li Rui safe. He threw on his jacket, driving fast while yelling at Brother O. When he arrived, he found Li Rui happily holding his piles of loot. Materials mattered less than knowing Officer Wang was completely safe. Brother Bao felt both annoyed and deeply amused, feeling a wave of sympathy. He knew the boy had grown up alone, with no family left. Listening to the story, he realized Yu Sunseon's call made perfect sense. If the rookie died under her watch, it would ruin her record. He checked the massive pile, joking that his luck was still terrible. He estimated the mountain of trash loot was worth 50,000 won. During his endless lecture about danger zones, a soft noise interrupted them. Brother O glanced over to find him fast asleep, muttering about what a monster he recruited. Brother O sat nervous at the Gukdong building, right at the next desk. He whispered that Chairwoman O was on the phone with the vice chairman, working out his punishment for unilaterally entering a level 6 folded reality. Trying to reassure him, O noted how focused he seemed with the rule book. But when asked a question, Li Rui looked up and inquired about his payment. For the submitted materials, that froze O's sincere expression, Li Rui told him. There was nothing to fear because only money was real, when warned that anything beyond a verbal warning would ruin his promotions. He simply asked whether the punishment would still stand if he transferred to the Hyun Ryong Association. Oh flinched and snapped at him to forget it. Just then, Brother Bao walked over. With a heavy look to announce the result was a simple verbal reprimand and some educational counseling. The official criticism meeting was set for 2 p.m. on the 11th floor with every team attending. Sure enough, a few hours later, the room was packed with action team members ready to grill him, but he declared, with complete formality, that he had indeed entered the level 6 secret realm, saving a police officer and a local villager from the Huanchuan 5th group, slaying 8 level 10 great root essences and 3 illusionary spirit charms, while submitting a profound self-criticism. They all sat stunned. Honestly, it felt suspiciously like he was showing off. Then, the secretary entered, bearing an official thank you letter from the police station for saving Officer Wang. Li Liu issued municipal-wide, since the normal station had no classified details. It was a clear, strategic move by police officials trying to make connections. With their highly privileged special department, Brother Bao accepted it awkwardly, making any further criticism of their hero impossible. And the meeting dissolved into laughter. Yu Sanchuan's team was incredibly grateful, since without his intervention, their operation would have ended in tragedy. Only Brother O was left behind to write a record with bureaucratic dignity, stating that novice agent Li Rui had delivered a profound self-criticism. The other team leaders had each offered stern education, successfully achieving a positive cautionary effect. Meanwhile, back at the apartment, Officer Wang returned home with a few days of well-deserved leave. His rebellious daughter, Wang Jia, immediately fell silent upon seeing him safe, but Du Yu Young was absolutely glowing with relief, having nearly fainted at his injury and had whipped up a grand feast. She nagged him for hiding the truth, but he brushed it off, explaining it was not that he refused to talk, but that he was strictly banned. As an experienced officer, he fully understood why his mouth had to stay shut. His wife suggested inviting Li Rui over, and he replied that he already did. Wang Jia stepped out, acting casual as she poured water, and asked whether he was coming. Right then, the doorbell rang, and Li Rui walked in, carrying various health supplements, much to Officer Wang's mild annoyance. Du Yu Young scolded her husband, but privately worried this would strain the young man's wallet, but he was not short on cash. 56,500 yuan had just cleared. He was already planning to replace his 8-year-old computer to log into the agent network. The four of them sat down, and as usual, Du Yuyoung did most of the talking. Wang Ba just responded, while Wang Jai stayed silent, and Officer Wang only chimed. For serious matters, the longer the officer watched, the more puzzled he grew. The young student had personally sought him out right on the chaotic day of that incident, hanging around Wang Chong's 5th group, yet today he asked absolutely nothing about the incident. Instead, the confused officer just watched him gossiping with Du Yuyoung about the local market butcher, giggling along as she described the dramatic street brawl with the butcher's angry wife. He simply could not connect this giggling student with the high-level power players, whose names made even the massive city bureau leaders speak in careful whispers. After finishing up their food, the young student unlocked a rental bicycle and quietly pedaled home. Over the next few days, the association told him to rest up, while Brother Ao constantly dropped by the house, clearly terrified the rookie would wander off again. Once his school exams wrapped up, the scheduled imprint shift finally began to take place. His imprint shifted right on schedule, starting the next dungeon countdown. Wang Ba was incredibly anxious to finally put his combat strength to the test against real monsters. Their intense wilderness duel ended in defeat, showcasing the huge gap between their current strengths. Unlocking a class gave huge attribute bonuses. Brother Ao's specialized hunter class was the perfect example of this overwhelming, unfair advantage. It granted insane tracker senses, rapid health regeneration, and mystical heart sutra martial arts. The young rookie simply could not secure a single win against that ridiculous, constant health regeneration. He desperately wanted to reach level 10, but after 3 brutal rounds, they stopped. Brother Ao drank some water and praised his impressive level 6 progress. He assured him that once his class finally advanced, their fights would end very differently. But the upcoming Gohyan Town dungeon would not give enough experience for level 10. Wang Ba squinted, warning him not to fool him since a 6-star difficulty was no joke. While typical dungeons rated only around 2 to 4 stars, his buddy nodded in agreement. The real issue was beating up the administrator. Anyone who offended them got slammed with 3 consecutive high-difficulty runs. While standard offenders only received 5 or 6-star traps, his were locked at absolute maximum difficulty. Wang Ba begged for a bit of optimism, but his sparring partner only stated facts. What neither hunter realized was that the system administrator actually had no power over them. Drawing the terrifying demon Wind Temple was entirely caused by his legendary cursed constitution. As they drove back, Brother Ao warned him that their next target was notoriously low yield. It offered 6-star difficulty, but only gave out 4-star rewards. He warned that Wang Ba had to play smart to lower the threat. The two rushed directly back to the Gukdong headquarters to scour their official strategy guides. The files detailed every main quest procedure and hidden side quest triggers. These common realms were richly documented, which Wang Ba highly valued. In his previous run, he had only survived through sheer luck by meeting Master Chung Hei. That legendary clear boosted his rank from level 1 straight to level 6 quite effortlessly. He had to farm side quests, with his experience sitting at 550 out of 2100. The leveling requirements were climbing rapidly, and mid-discussion, Brother Ba approached. He immediately confirmed Gohyen Town, pulled the boy into his private office, and delivered serious news. A powerful new ally would be entering the very same dungeon with him. This partner possessed an incredibly mysterious background, which explained how he already knew. First up was S.A. Wang from Team 1, who recently hit level 10 and advanced. They had crossed paths back at Wudu Mountain. As for the other guy, Brother Ba had to explain things. At the provincial level, Mystic Realm agent organizations were mostly run by the Department of Supernatural Abilities, though other forces existed. Inside the Bakery Association, the chief committee member was chosen by the department, while the rest came from those outside forces. The young man entering alongside him was Hei Songrai of the Hei family in Ohun Province, a deeply rooted house with permanent committee representation. Hei Songrai was a young junior, likely hailing from their main family branch. He thought for a moment. He asked if they wanted him to eliminate the kid. Inside the Mystic Realm, Brother Ba snapped back, telling him absolutely not. His job was actually to protect him. The kid was level 9 and about his age. A level 6 protecting a level 9 sounded completely absurd, but for someone who could instantly kill a level 10 boss, it made sense. He shrugged. Fine, as long as the kid stayed out of his way, Brother Ba reminded him. They were teammates now, plus Chairwoman O had a potential reward. For good performance, a high-rarity, non-soul-bound piece of top-tier gear. His face lit up, but then he frowned. Was Ba actually just worried he would beat the wealthy kid up inside? Ba paused, quickly denied it, and broke out in a cold sweat. He had nailed it. Meanwhile, and here is where things get interesting, the provincial president was Song Yo, a man who loved poetry. Today, he cleared his busy schedule because Commissioner Heiyo, the powerful patriarch from Ohun Province, arrived. As a current committee member, he deserved respect. They greeted each other warmly. Sitting by the coffee table, they waited as the secretary stepped out. Commissioner Heiyo asked about recent reality overlaps in Dongram. Since commissioners traveled freely, Song Yo admitted the numbers had jumped by 3%. This year's growth was heading toward 5%, a worrying climb. This was the third year straight that the department demanded constant reports. Commissioner Heiyo sighed, warning that something massive was looming on the horizon. He then mentioned his level 9 grandson was about to enter Goyun Town. Song Yo congratulated him, but the old commissioner just gave a bitter laugh. These dangerous imprints were a curse. Nobody knew when death might strike. Song Yo knew the name well, but waited for him to speak. Commissioner Heiyo then brought up the notorious troublemaker from the Demon Wind Temple. He wanted Song Yo's people to ensure that Monster Slayer protected his young grandson. The grandfather then asked what exact level this highly praised fighter was. Only level 6, Song Yo replied. The old commissioner frowned in disappointment. But then Song Yo added that this kid had soloed a dozen monsters. He completely cleared a level 10 reality overlap all on his own recently. That meant serving as a bodyguard in Goyun Town would be incredibly easy. Song Yo sipped his tea, hoping the young man would grow up fast. The western cities of Dongrim province were facing a massive shortage of talent. Commissioner Heyo offered to send over some experienced personnel from Ranhe. They had more than a dozen talented newcomers ready to be deployed. Song Yo apologized for the oversight, though he was secretly delighted inside. Knowing these transfers would have been pretty much impossible to arrange otherwise, and silently thanked a kid he never met. In Hwangryong City, he had memorized all known Goyun town strategies. Brother Ba had promised him high rarity gear, so he had to protect Heyo Songri. He is a man of principles. To push his combat power even higher, he visited the support team and reminded Moon Yan about her promise to explain what those blank materials were. For slurping instant noodles in the corner, she finished, smiled, and led him straight to the materials department. She ran the support team with equipment, materials, and analysis all under her, but her gentle voice made the idea of her being powerful hard to believe. After several rounds of identity checks, she brought him to a device resembling an old-fashioned CRT monitor. Each city branch only had one, used to strengthen equipment. In upgrade levels, she added they only enhance high-rarity gear or items with amazing stats. He asked if he could strengthen the administrator's coat, but she said a level 1 blank item was not worth rare materials. He disagreed, thinking about how his slap skill had unique effects, including fusing other skills, and suspected this coat was pretty special too. He gave her a solid reason, pointing out he had plenty of material since temporary dungeon drops could not be taken back into reality anyway. She agreed but urged him to hurry, explaining the device burned magic crystals assembled by machinists to process secret realm items here. When the machine finally powered on, he followed the instructions, placing his hand directly into the reader. A burning sensation flared at his imprint, revealing the administrator jacket, stats at item level 1. Quality unique, defense +6, with a funny note for all employees. To keep it safe, wearing it made his slaps look quite cool. And it had an eternal tag. Moon Yan quickly explained that different equipment types required fully compatible materials to strengthen them. But since the jacket was blank, he had to test. He dropped an ordinary frost silk thread, and the screen flashed with a successful upgrade. Progress 3 out of 50. She was shocked at that high limit, suggesting they should probably just give up. He replied he had plenty of thread, dropping in 17 materials under her pained gaze. The jacket upgraded to level 2, defense +8, with 2% ice resistance added on top. She rushed to the screen, muttering in pure disbelief that it gained a brand new special effect just by strengthening. Even the gentle big sister had her intense moments. She explained there were 3 ways to get special effects. High-rarity gear had them. Some special non-player characters could bestow them, along with legendary special effect generation scrolls. She smiled bitterly, admitting this was why she had not wanted him to enhance it, now realizing the coat was special. He slapped his forehead, asking if skill effects worked the same way. She confirmed it. Smart move on his part. He kept quiet about his slap. He then asked if lightning and ice were compatible, and she nodded. He decided to try just one piece, throwing in a lightning wood shard the panel. Reported +5, 5 out of 100. She clasped her hands excitedly. He tossed in the rest, upgrading the coat to level 3, with +10 defense ice resistance at 2%. Then he mischievously asked if fire would conflict. Since it already had ice compatibility, she stayed silent, so he threw in some scorching powder. That gave +5, making it 5 of 200. She fell completely quiet. He added a warm pearl, reaching 9 of 200. She began rambling that fire and water could not mix, claiming the data was wrong. And it had to be an illusion. He understood. This coat could be enhanced infinitely, no matter the element, meaning he could dump any material into. So he poured his entire inventory right into the slot. The screen kept announcing nonstop success without a single failure. When the dust finally settled, the coat reached level 5, giving 17 defense and 2% ice resistance, 3% lightning resistance, 2% poison, and reduced fall damage. Moon Yeon just sat on the floor beside him, eyes completely blank, whispering that crafting rules no longer existed. He noted one sample did not disprove objective laws. Entirely, slightly jealous, she admitted that since the machine was currently active, she might as well show off. She scanned her own rock-solid auxiliary lab coat, level 26, epic quality with 40 defense +3 reaction. Plus 7 search, 5 additional defense, and 15% physical. Resistance, a powerful epic with 2 attributes and 2 special effects on. Top of defense, not bad at all, though pretty shabby compared to his own. Its only real advantage was the high level, once his gear reached level 26, it would easily match hers. He kept quiet to avoid sounding sarcastic. She turned off the machine, patted her cheeks, and muttered a quiet complaint. He kindly offered to grab some food, but she politely turned him down, explaining that her support team had a massive backlog of materials to process. They had no combat duties, but they were far busier than the frontline teams. Rui left the Gukdong building fully prepared, his bags cleared of useless scraps. He carried plenty of recovery potions and buffs to maximize his combat efficiency. His stats were high enough to dominate a 6-star, level 5 to 10 dungeon, he checked his imprint, seeing 3 days left, and realized it was the 25th. That was Jongho's birthday. If he missed it, his friend would sulk forever. Suddenly, Jang So-wung from Team 1 approached him, calling him Brother Rui with a smile. He mentioned hearing that Rui was also heading in, suggesting they should team up. To ensure a smooth, easy clear, Rui asked if they would spawn together. Jang shook his head, pointing out that the guide mentioned a landmark called the Celestial Statue in the town center where they could easily meet. Rui agreed. Jang thanked him and left. Rui laughed quietly at how self-aware the guy was. Clearly knowing who held the real power, both of them had fought the giant root spirit on Wutu Mountain, where Jang had struggled while Rui obliterated everything instantly. The gap was massive. Rui took a taxi home and received a call from Jongho. They agreed on the 28th, meeting at their usual spot with zero fuss. 3 days later, with 30 minutes left on his countdown, he sat down. His companions were not coming this time, leaving him to face the trial alone. A 6-star trial didn't stress them, since they had real-world duties to handle. Normally, a regular staffer would supervise. Instead, Moon Young showed up herself. She came because Oh Myung Young requested she pay close attention to Li Rui. Her task, monitor anomalies. Nationally, the association had suppressed Li Rui's name. But at the Hwangryong branch, he was a total treasure. She warned him to watch out for hidden options and avoid provoking dangerous non-player characters. Nobody would help him this time. He told her not to worry. The countdown hit 0. Closing his eyes, he entered, while Jang Sokwang did the same next door. Meanwhile, in Ohun Province, inside the ancient Hyo family mansion, Ga Young sat opposite her son. She told Hyo Songrai that Li Rui, chosen by his grandfather, was highly capable. She warned him not to act rashly and to cooperate. Hyo Songrai was the same age as Li Rui, but carried a baby face. He assured his mother there was no issue, claiming he always listened to his guards. After all, professional matters belonged to experts. Most imprint holders were quickly absorbed by the department, but aristocratic families trained their own. As a core member, Hyo Songrai operated outside the 4 official organizations. With only 1 minute remaining, she grabbed his hand to check the imprint. She touched his head, buckled his hands and feet, and sent him off. He shut his eyes and entered. Here, the rolling thunder sounded completely natural, unlike the cursed energy of Demon Wind Temple and the heavy, humid air. Hinted at rain, he opened his eyes inside a small, empty room with 3 others. He asked a flat-haired guy if he was Li Rui. The man shook his head. Instead, he introduced himself as Jang Sokwang of the Bakery Association. The others, they introduced themselves as Oh Hyung and Mi Mang, cousins from Hyeon Ryong. Oh Hyung was lively, while Mi Mang was shyer. Hyo Songrai shared his name and mentioned that Li Rui was with the bakery. Jang Sokwang nodded eagerly. Brother Rui is incredibly strong, he said. We must find him first. But Hyo Songrai immediately took charge, declaring they first needed to figure out their exact location. The girls knew nothing about Li Rui. They found the timid Jang Sokwang far more appealing than Hyo Songrai. As a direct descendant, he was trained in secret realms for years. He explained they spawned in an unknown spot. Nobody should reveal their equipment or stats, since real-world tracking was impossible here. Still, everyone needed to state their current level right now. He showed level 9. Jang Sokwang declared he was level 10, a trapper, which immediately lowered him in the girl's eyes. A level 10 who needed a helper was pathetic. The cousins revealed they were levels 8 and 7. Hyo Songrai remarked their levels were solid, meaning they should be fine. He carefully pushed the door open, letting a gust of cold air sweep in. The rundown courtyard was covered in thick dust and ancient cobwebs, and at the far gate, a creepy hemp rope swung gently from a beam. It was tied into a noose. This is Yugen Ghost Garden, talk about a nightmare. Everyone froze, their system panels suddenly updated with a new main quest. Phase 1 escaped through the main gate. Jang Sokwang smacked his forehead, realizing he was supposed to meet Li Rui in the town center, but now, unable to reach him, Hyo Songrai urged everyone to stay calm and escape. Look for him. Right at that exact second, a handsome young man walked into Gohyen Town. He scanned the empty streets, complaining quietly about the terrible heat. Wondered why he was dropped all alone at this outer spawn point, and figured he had to hurry up and find Jang Sung-won and that carp guy inside the secret zone. Even with past player guides, the unpredictable variables of each stage were endless, and the mission terrain could be completely randomized. The four-man squad led by Hyo Sung-rai had to proceed with caution. Climbing the walls was impossible. A force field blocked the garden, and leaving any other way than the main gate meant instant failure. Hyo Sung-rai asked Jang Sung-won if, as a skilled trapper, he could build traps by hand. He replied he could easily use local materials or scrap, and maintain 3 active traps at once. Their strategy was to clear one courtyard at a time, with Jang Sung-won dropping traps behind them. Oh Hyun pointed out that the guide warned of numerous corpse ghouls and deadly demons, making this highly dangerous. They began exploring outward. Meanwhile, he finally received his main quest. Phase 1 was to explore Yugen Ghost Garden, matching their goal but starting from a different location. According to the strategy guide, his quest only had 2 phases, and the ultimate goal was slaying the boss hiding deep inside, meaning his difficulty rating was significantly higher. This garden had been the private estate of a powerful cultivator who had retired into seclusion and vanished, leaving behind terrifying corpse ghouls and restless yin souls. But he had no intention of rushing the main objective. If he accidentally finished off the boss, he'd be kicked out too early. High-tier gear depended on him. He walked the quiet streets in his administrator's coat, geared up in a bunch of white-tier armor. Common mobs couldn't even touch him. Gohyen Town was an isolated border settlement that was practically a city. Without some kind of minimap or map view, he had no clue how to find the center, so he approached an old farmer selling fresh watermelons by the roadside. Surprisingly, the moment the old man saw him, he gripped his rusty melon cutting knife and crouched low, ready to bolt. He quickly remembered his terrifying, ferocious demeanor. Talent could be scary. He chuckled and told the man not to worry, saying that he simply looked fierce but was actually a decent guy. This trait slapped him with -5 favorability and +20 fright on their first encounter, and he wanted to see if that initial fear could be turned around. The old man replied that he was not ugly, just that his expression looked incredibly fierce. He sighed and explained he was simply born this way and could not ruin his face. This aligned with the farmer's values, so he relaxed and asked what he wanted. He asked for directions to the immortal statue in the center. The old man told him to follow this path, turn left, and once he spotted the massive stone statue, he could go wherever he pleased. He cupped his fists in respectful thanks and stood to leave. Suddenly, right then, a few burly men in fancy robes approached, sizing him up cautiously before heading straight for the old seller, shouting that they already warned him not to sell around town. The poor man stammered he was only staying on the outer edge, not daring to offend their sight. The leader shattered a watermelon with a single punch, grabbed a slice, and demanded he get lost and leave his things behind. Suddenly, the system panel triggered a side quest called Melon Dispute. Should he protect the helpless old man or side with the thugs? Naturally, he did not hesitate. A brutal slap without using any active skills sent the main thug spinning, and he fell unconscious. The panel updated, save the melon farmer and drive off the thugs for 600 experience points and 2 random items, dropping the first. He charged the rest, their low reward suggesting they were only level 6 or 7, slamming them all to the dirt without using a single skill. He bound them. Woke the leader, who immediately begged for his life. Fear worked like a charm, so he kept threatening him, demanding he stay put right there. If he ran or if anything happened to the elder before his return, he would slaughter the thug's entire family, crushing one man's pinky while clamping another's jaw to choke back the scream. The quest remained open because the thugs were still around, meaning he could bring Hyo Sung-rai and Jang So-gwang to leech some free experience later. Sharing with Jang So-gwang was professional Courtesy but letting Hyo Sungrai leech, that was business since Brother Ba promised high-quality gear for top-tier performance. To our guy, this was a simple transaction where he acted as the booster for a young master who needed a glowing review. Meanwhile, the old melon farmer was deeply skeptical. Kill his whole family, and he still called himself a good person. He never actually planned to murder anyone. He did not even know if the man had a family. He just figured that was how movie villains threatened people. Once the leader was thoroughly terrified, our guy demanded his money. The system panel popped up, reporting scattered silver, a mere prop, which he tossed to the melon farmer as payment for watching the bound thugs. The old man feared the ruffians, but decided running away was even riskier. Choosing to stay, our guy headed back toward the statue, but rounded a corner only to stumble into another group of thugs, this time armed and far more hostile. The system panel updated, telling him to drive away the bullies for 702 experience. After a rapid flurry of strikes, they were all laid out on the dirt. He grabbed one, demanding answers, and the leader spat back that the Hyoki Association had no beef with him. So these were not just random street thugs, but an actual gang. He recalled a game guide entry. The Hyoki Association had its own storyline. A cult practicing the Hyoki Sutra, created by a wandering Taoist priest who settled down to take disciples. Clearing this storyline meant defeating the Taoist master at the very end. He knocked them out with heavy thuds, stacked them up, and dragged them back to the edge of town for the farmer to watch. Telling the old man to loot whatever he wanted, he finally reached the town center, where a pure white statue stood 3 zhang tall. Few people were around, with muggy weather and rain looming nearby. Zhang Soguang was nowhere to be seen, suggesting he had been delayed by something. As he wondered what happened, a third unlucky wave of Hyoki members arrived. He unleashed his heavy slaps, shattering bones until they were subdued, and carried the entire pile back to the melon farmer. The old man had no idea why this fierce youth kept stacking unconscious gangsters right next to his stall, but he was sure of one thing: this young man was far more terrifying than any thug. He handed the farmer stick, telling him to whack anyone who started waking up. Still no sign of Zhang Soguang at the statue, so he went to search. Along the way, he encountered 3 random events, mediating a martial arts duel, stopping a troublemaking cultivator, and fighting off wild dog corpse demons in a cemetery. Except for he cleared unavoidable corpse demons, earning 800 experience, 3 crafting materials, and an attribute point. Next, he tossed the remaining bodies right near the mill and farmer. That passing cultivator faced a worse fate. After activating the Senso Banro Heart Sutra, our hero defeated him in just a few moves. The foe tried to surrender, but to keep the event running, he beat him unconscious. His quest log now held 5 unsubmitted events, worth several thousand experience. He immediately changed direction, heading toward the unexplored Yu Gang Ghost Garden, still wrapped in an eerie chill. There, Oh Hyung and Mi Mang, pale and terrified, were timidly fumbling along the wall. The 4 had moved together until a swarm of corpse demons broke their formation, forcing a chaotic retreat, only to realize their 2 companions were missing. This ghost garden was a massive maze, where monsters were at least level 7, making it much harder than the guide suggested. After some quick discussion, they retraced their steps back to where they had first been separated. The ground was littered with corpses, the air thick with rot. Clutching basic weapons, they cautiously crossed the courtyard. Suddenly, a mangled corpse demon let out a low growl, catching them off guard. Instantly, the other dead monsters began to twitch. The panel announced a random event: Corpse Demon Resurrection. The goal was to escape or eliminate them all. The reward was 800 experience and 2 items, but they stood no chance. Bolting toward the opposite gate, crossing the threshold brought a mix of news. The good news: they finally spotted Hyo Sungri and Jang Soon. The bad, you guessed it, those 2 were also running for their lives from a horde. Our hero pondered Go Hyun Town, which had only 3 main storylines. The Hyoki Association handled Yu Gang Ghost Garden, his primary target. Then there was the Shady Elders Association, comprised of local gentry whom the guide flagged as thoroughly corrupt, using their massive influence to send out servants to kidnap lonely residents for human trafficking. An unsolved mystery remained. The victims were mainly the elderly, disabled, and beggars, with very few children or able-bodied adults. Among them, it made absolutely no sense, but he was not concerned with the lore, only with finding those people. he sprinted toward the other side of Gohyeon. Town, the Elders Association, was run by 3 wealthy magnates and the final boss was this very trio led by Master Hwang Young-ryo, who always gathered at the Hwang Manor. As he approached the gates, he heard desperate weeping. She begged her child Yun-yan to call out if she could hear her. Several manor servants blocked the gates, and predictably, approaching them triggered aside. The Hwang Manor mystery. Investigate Yun-yan's clues for 500 experience. And an item, skipping the usual comforting routine, he marched right up to the servants, twisting his wrist to lunge directly between 2 of them, and delivered powerful elbow strikes to both sides. They collapsed instantly. He stepped over them straight into the manor. Standard quests usually require talking or sneaky infiltration, but he preferred his own method, planning to knock everyone inside out first, then demand answers. Meanwhile, at the Hyo Manor, a black sedan arrived. Through the gates, only the head of the main branch was permitted to use this entrance, confirming the arrival of Commissioner Hyo, fresh from meetings in Dongram Province. Walking straight into the main house, he saw his. He asked his daughter-in-law, had Sung Rai entered. She respectfully replied he went in 15 minutes ago. He told her not to worry, Chairman Song promised to arrange for Lee Rui to protect him. She argued it was still a 6-star, speaking as boldly as she dared, fearing his anger. She quickly added she was just anxious about the Yugang Ghost Garden scenario. He patiently reassured Unjayan, explaining that Song had told him this rookie Lee Rui had massive potential, the kind who, if he just survived, would surely make a name like those young talents. Dubbed the Supernovas, Unjayan remained skeptical, but he added that old Song had told him Hwangryong City recently faced a level 10 reality overlap, where Rui single-handedly wiped out an entire breakpoint. She could rest easy. Relief washed over her as she realized with such an expert around, Sung Rai would be safe. Meanwhile, Commissioner Hyo mused about recruiting this powerhouse. Inside the spooky Yugang Ghost Garden, Hyo Sung Rai ran for his life, clutching a rare quality sword, an unbound eternal weapon. From his clan, his family wanted to give him even better, but for gear under level 10, rare grade was basically the limit. Still, he stood no chance against the massive horde chasing him. They were hopelessly outmatched. Jang Songwang was only good at setting up stationary defensive traps, while level 9 Sung Rai could not carry this weak team. He desperately screamed at Jang Songwang, demanding to know when Brother Rui would arrive. All confidence was gone. He just prayed Rui was as strong as advertised. And honestly, our main guy was getting pretty annoyed. The butler of Wang Manor was hanging from a beam, face completely beaten and bruised. Rui demanded answers, asking where they kept the little girl captured yesterday. These manor guards were no pushovers, martial artists hired from the Jianghu and cutthroat bandits. The butler had expected to easily tie Rui up and throw him into a dark dungeon. Instead, his men got completely crushed, and even his elite cultivator champion could not hold out for even 2 moves before a brutal slap decapitated him. Absolutely savage, right? Butler finally understood how terrifying Rui could be. The young man rested a stolen broadsword over his shoulder, noting that the old man did not seem talkative. Any thoughts of resisting vanished as the sharp tip of that weapon pointed directly at his groin. He shrieked in terror, promised to tell everything. The cold steel stopped just an inch away, forcing a desperate confession. He blurted out that she was locked inside the courtyard cellar with other prisoners, while the rest were shipped to farmhouses outside town. They were hidden in some watermelon fields. Rui narrowed his eyes at that clue. After subduing everyone in the manor and cleaning up side quests, he headed out. Near the entrance, a weeping mother cried out. Feeling slightly awkward, Rui promised he had a lead and would bring her child back safely. Seeing him easily overpower the guards, she believed him and wept with deep gratitude. Looking up at the darkening sky, the young man saw rain was on the way. He wondered if his 2 attempts at probing these main quests were actually wrong moves. On the bright, it was certain Hyo Sung Rai had spawned in Yugen Ghost Garden, but nobody knew if he had already failed. Better hurry. He was still holding on, using rare quality gear to keep fighting and retreating, while relying on Jang Sungwang's traps to barely evade the corpse demons. Though he was a rich heir, he was incredibly loyal, and knowing the other's strength was way too inferior, he covered their retreat. His clothes were torn, his face poisoned and debuffed with reduced damage. Seeing this, Jang Sungwang activated his skill, planting sharp corpse dog fangs as blade traps along the path, and yelling for Hyo Sungrai to hurry. Once Hyo Sungrai made it past, Jang Sungwang formed hand seals to hide them, the charging corpse. Demons crashed in, getting instantly impaled. Oh Hyung was highly impressed by the trap master, but they still had to face the stitched corpse demon. A level 10 elite monster, its body a fusion of shriveled corpse parts. Melted together, in its right claw, it dragged a heavy iron chain that jingled softly. Taking out the leader first was their best shot. Jang Sungwang shouted to ask for a plan. Nearby, the girls blocked the door with rubble, but they lacked combat skills. Hyo Sungrai proposed using this window to build a slow trap. Since the elite ignored slow effects, the normal corpse demons would fall behind. The girls could then hold the door while the guys tried to surround and destroy the elite in the courtyard. Jang Sungwang's mental energy was nearly dry, but he managed to set the trap. Hyo Sungrai once again put his own body on the line to buy time for it to activate. The horde got bogged down in the slow zone, but the stitched demon broke free and charged ahead. Acting as bait, he lured the beast into the central courtyard. While the girls sealed the door with shattered stone pillars and heavy bricks, they only had moments to put it down. Talk about absolute bravery. Hyo Sungrai stepped up. All he had to rely on was gear, lacking raw attributes or skill. Talents, his sword flared with a brilliant blue light, unleashing its passive piercing power as he drove the blade deep into the demon's chest. Feeling victorious, his hype died when a cold chain wrapped around his ankle. The stitched monstrosity had no vital organs, meaning a chest wound was nothing to it, and it easily exploited his moment in the air. Blood sprayed as he screamed and fell, his lower left leg completely severed. Oh Hyung and Jang Sungwang froze, absolutely stunned. But the usually timid Mi Mang suddenly charged, carrying a massive stone pillar, shattering it completely to throw the massive corpse demon off its balance. The girl had clearly invested heavily in her physique. Jang Sungwang and Oh Hyung snapped out of their daze, attacking from both sides. However, the iron chain slapped Jang Sungwang and sent him tumbling away. The corpse demon roared, turning to hunt its next target, only to find its legs caught in a light forged binding rope which Jang Sungwang had secretly laid down during his fake charge. Mi Mang and Oh Hyung rushed back in, unleashing a frantic barrage. Their level 7 and 8 physiques tore away chunks of dead flesh, but it broke free easily and blasted them back with the chain. Spitting blood, they watched a sword pierce its chest once more. On just one leg, Hyo Sungrai leaped high and clung to the monster's back, repeatedly stabbing and slashing with his rare quality blade. Jang Sogwan dragged his heavily injured body forward and hacked away like a man possessed. One final angry roar, and the massive corpse demon crashed to the ground. But there was no time to celebrate, as the sealed gate suddenly blew wide open. Run! Jang Sogwan screamed as a fresh wave of corpse demons flooded the area. The girls desperately fled, but stopped when they saw Hyo Sungrai limping toward the army. Leaning on his sword, he limped forward, urging them to escape without him. His voice trembled with pure, unadulterated terror, yet he stood his ground regardless. Ever since childhood, he had dreamed of becoming a true hero who turned the tide. This was his 3-minute chance at glory. Passing them, he forced a smile. Jang Sogwan stood completely frozen in horror, and then a system notification struck like lightning. A sudden random event triggered. The corpse demon had resurrected. Objective: escape immediately. Reward: 1100 experience. They stood to gain 2 attribute points and 1 piece of excellent quality equipment. Talk about worst-case scenarios, they were all completely doomed. Hyo Sungrai was dumbfounded, realizing they had triggered the hardest quest. This double resurrection event offered insane rewards, but was way too brutal to survive. Oh Hyung frantically asked Jang Sogwan where their promised savior actually was. The girls huddled close, remembering how terrifying it felt to die once before. Jang Sogwan admitted it was his fault for arranging the meeting right under this statue. Hyo Sungrai laughed bitterly, telling them to pray their souls survived this. Backing away, they watched the monster leader slowly advance, wanting to crush them himself. Suddenly, a massive, rusted iron chain rattled loudly and flew straight for Hyo Sungrai's head. He stared death in the face, screaming at the others to run. Jang Sogwan turned to flee, but suddenly felt a blur rush past him. A massive collision echoed through the air, but the sound was completely different this time. A casual figure appeared, effortlessly slapping the massive iron chain aside with one palm. Jang Sogwan practically shrieked out the name Brother Rui in utter disbelief. Rui did not act like a master at all, simply offering a dry laugh. He apologized for being late because the town was massive, telling them to wait patiently. His tone was as casual as greeting a friend. Suddenly, electric light surged. The Sinsabanrai Heart Sutra activated, turning him into a flash of golden lightning. Rui vanished on the spot and instantly reappeared right in front of the beast's face. With a single Banrai palm strike, the elite monster's upper body vanished. Hyo Sungrai had wanted to warn him about weak points, but obviously had no need. The system screen updated, stitched corpse demon dead, random event completed. He leveled up, securing fresh attribute points and excellent new equipment. The remaining monsters quickly regrouped, while Rui pulled out several small potions. Downing them quickly, he activated a junior temporary physique buff. The premium temple pills instantly boosted his arm strength, leg power, and overall defensive abilities. Fully buffed, he slung a deeply impressed Hyo Sungrai over his shoulder. Hyo Sungrai had expected to watch his savior charge into battle, not be carried away. But after carrying Master Chung Hyo before, Rui trusted this practical method. It kept the injured safe from sudden sneak attacks by the remaining monsters. Fortunately, Jang Sagwan and the girls still possessed healthy legs to run from real danger. With all buffs active, he gripped a simple blade and carved through the horde 7 times. In and out, Hei Songri did not make any sound while clinging to his shoulder. With the corpse demons defeated, the panel declared the threat eliminated. The corridor chase ended, corpse demon dead, resurrection stopped, and bone-eating evil. Ghost destroyed, grass spirit dead. These guys had triggered so many random events just like he did back in Demon Wind Temple, earning him a massive amount of experience and rare materials. A highly profitable run, he gently placed Hei Songri down on a clean patch, personally pulling out trauma medicine for his broken leg. Overwhelmed, Hei Songri choked out that he had secretly doubted him before. Calling himself a complete idiot, he replied that he was always polite to clients, then asked what his main quest was. Hei Songri tearfully called him a good person. Learning that all 4 wanted to escape through the main entrance, he told them to follow him, hoisted them up, and led the way. Oh Hyung and Mi Ming now had to admit that Jang So-won was right and things were stable. Jang So-bong's admiration was even stronger since he alone knew about feats like soloing a 10-star dungeon at level 1. Lost in thought, they walked up to find the ground littered with severed limbs of corpse demons and corpse ghosts. They suddenly realized he had not been at his peak when he instantly slain the elite monster, having fought his way through hordes of enemies the entire time. Jang So-won asked if he had really fought his way through, and he confirmed it, explaining that he had reached level 7 mid-spree, fully restoring his status, and with the corpse demons his experience had just hit level 8. Hei Songri on his shoulder asked what they should do once they got out, and he told him not to worry since he had to let him complete those side quests first. As for the main quest, they would eventually fight the Yin Soul boss in Yu Gang Ghost Garden, but as long as they did not reach the deepest part, it would not trigger. Just as they left the Ghost Garden, Jang So-won suddenly exclaimed that their main quest had updated with a new choice between inviting the Hyoki Association or the Elders Association to help take down the boss. The 4 now deferred to him even on main quest decisions. He made a small hiss telling them this was bad and hard to explain. Then he led them to the old melon farmer, where they stood shocked to see the ground completely covered in Hyoki Association disciples. Hei Songri asked dryly if he had wiped out their base. He gave an awkward laugh, saying they had come to provoke him, then said each of them should go slap and kick someone to accept the quest, since those guys were bullies. After trying it, Oh Hyung exclaimed she had actually triggered a side quest. She realized he had deliberately left these people for them to farm rewards, only finishing once he rounded them all up and drove them out of town. Mi Ming timidly suggested they could still find the Elders Association. The others looked at him again, only to find his expression awkward once more, awkwardly apologizing that he had already completely wiped out the Elders Association as well. But there was another wave of rewards to claim there. Beyond mere admiration, all 4 were incredibly moved, and Hei Songri told him once again that he was truly a good person. With the quest settled, the old melon farmer storyline continued as he stepped forward. Bowing, he seemed touched, then with a swift grappling technique pinned him to the ground. He asked with a chuckle if the farmer was contacting Hwang Yung Ryo. His reasoning was simple: the butler had The captive victims are kept near a watermelon patch, and those Hyoki. Disciples who picked a fight with him definitely had an agenda. In a game, seeing the same clue in two different quests means they are connected. The guy naturally denies everything, claiming he is totally innocent, but Rui warns him that his interrogations are meant to hurt, clamps the guy's jaw, and unleashes the skill. Ferocious God's malice. Trembling in terror, the captive confesses that Master Hwang paid him silver to pose as a simple melon merchant. At night, he used a carriage to smuggle the captive victims out to a dungeon outside of town. He claims he was forced, but Rui slaps him, telling him to stop lying. He does not care about excuses, just lead the way to that hidden dungeon. Rui orders Jang So-guan to bind him, directing the group to Hwang Manor first. Staring at the slaughtered guards littered all over the estate, the farmer turns pale. Once those rewards are claimed, Rui forces him to guide them to the melon fields. It is a locked zone that can only be uncovered through this guide. Sure enough, they locate the dungeon, rescue the prisoners, and reap another sweet round of rewards. Suddenly, Hyo Song-rai cheers that he finally leveled up. Reaching level 10 means he can finally change his class, on his own. Running the main quest of Ghost Garden alone, he would never hit level 10. But under Rui's brilliant play, he advances before even confronting the final boss. Everyone gains massive experience, and Rui hits level 9. Jang So-guan asks if they must now face the Yin Soul boss without aid from either faction. Rui scratches his head, noting he is still short of level 10. He suggests triggering the bosses for the other two main quests before fighting the Yin Soul. The party members are already stunned that he entered the realm at level 6. And hearing that he wants to jump straight to level 10 in a single run sounds completely absurd, and honestly, can you blame them for being skeptical? Usually, players need at least 3 dungeon runs to bridge that massive level gap. But Jang So-guan is privately thrilled, knowing Rui already jumped from 1 to 6. Hyo Song-rai admits he would doubt anyone else, but since brother Rui says it, it is as good as done. The group agrees, and Rui turns to a terrified melon farmer, asking why the Hyoki faction was hunting him down. The farmer guesses they suspected his ties to Master Hwang and wanted to expose him. When Rui asks what Hwang is doing with the captives, the farmer shares his theory. Every batch of victims was held in the dungeon for months before being moved, but ever since the haunted Unjong Temple was completely destroyed by heavenly lightning a few months back, the strange shipments stopped entirely. He suspects the two events are linked. Rui's eyes narrow as he grabs him, demanding he repeat that name. The man nods frantically, describing Unjong Temple with its massive stone steps and towering pagoda. Rui confirms the description, and he agrees. He mutters that the ruins were haunted for ages, and he is just speculating, but Rui remembers Master Chung Hyo mentioning that Unjong Temple was actually Demon Wind Temple, which he and the old Taoist had thoroughly demolished. The connection aligns perfectly, yet this realm is only an instance, not reality. These spaces reset for every player, meaning actions in one should never affect the characters in another. Rui begins to form 2 distinct theories about this. Maybe a system error changed the realm settings, or perhaps non-player characters like Master Chung Hyo wandered between different realms while retaining their memories. Their actions directly altered the entire progression. He needed further observation. Rui kicked the melon farmer, telling him to scram and never return unless he wanted to die. The farmer scrambled away, leaving Rui with the truth. The strange disappearances in Goyan Town were tied to dark sacrifices at Unjong Temple, where the traitor's son Xian used vital essence to repair his divine soul. Still, this was just a guess with remaining inconsistencies. Sun Xian was a powerhouse, contending for Underworld Emperor in Pengdo, meaning he would not personally control small-town gentry, pointing to an intermediary. Putting that aside, Rui grabbed his newly acquired Fambo Hyo Sungri, leading the group toward the Hyoki Association lair to face the boss. Even though the founder was a Taoist, the place acted as a martial arts hall, meaning he welcomed disciples but only taught basic external combat techniques. Rui ordered the girls to guard Hyo Sungri while bringing Jang Sungwon inside with him. The Hyoki leader was a true boss, far stronger than any elite stitched corpse demon, so to protect his client, Rui kept him far away from danger. But right as they approached the door, boom, a sudden system prompt. A hidden quest triggered, tasking them to find clues and lure the Hyoki leader Shimbu into Yugeng Ghost Garden. Jang Sungwon shouted in sheer surprise that The game guide never mentioned this quest, only Hyo Sungri stayed completely unfazed. Praising how awesome Rui was, Rui told them to stay calm and look for clues. Oh Hyung noted that without guide instructions, they had to start from scratch. Usually players had to complete side quests to build a solid relationship with Shimbu first, then they would defeat the tree demon outside of town and bring him its inner core to secure his help in the garden. But Hyo Sungri pointed out that brother Rui already destroyed those bullies, meaning those quests were broken. Clearly, Rui's actions had completely disrupted the entire progression, though his fanboy would never dare say anything negative. Rui assured them there was no need to worry, ordering Jang Sungwon to follow him inside. He had his own unique way of making Shimbu cooperate willingly. They disappeared through the gates, immediately followed by loud, violent crashing sounds. Oh Hyung worriedly noted it sounded like a massive brawl. Hyo Sungri insisted they were just bonding through intense martial arts. When Oh Hyung gave him a skeptical look, he stammered about showing off too. He just waved his hand in defeat. Yeah, they were definitely fighting in there. Moments later, a perfectly calm Rui and a shell-shocked Jang Sungwon walked out, dragging a heavily scorched body, clearly Shimbu. Hyo Sungri asked if Rui had not promised to make him go willingly. Rui kicked Shimbu, demanding an answer. Totally willing, the boss whimpered, nodding with half his bones shattered. Rui shrugged. Gohyeon Town was only a level 10 realm, no matter how strong the boss. His power would be suppressed within level 10. Rui easily crushed ordinary level 10 monsters. With a spirit potion, nothing could stop him. He announced they still needed to visit the Elders Association next, hoping another hidden quest would trigger. The original boss lair lay ahead. Since he had already wiped out Hwang Manor, the boss trio relocated to the town's Ancestral Hall. Ancestral Hall. Arriving there, the system triggered a hidden quest with no listed reward, indicating full completion was required to resolve it. He moved in, again leading Jang So Wang inside. The trio's combined power was not higher than Shin Bu's, though they only made up the boss's true form. Individually they were weak, only slightly stronger than the Stitched Corpse Demon. The Stitched Corpse Demon, they couldn't withstand a single Banrei Palm. To keep them alive, he held back, using only heavy ordinary slaps. After they were dragged out, Jang So Wang tied them up. Hyo Sangrai asked if they were heading to the Ghost Garden. Not yet, he signaled. He had questions. First, squatting by the captives, he approached Shin Bu and asked if he cultivated Taoist magic. Yes, he did. Next, he asked about Shinso Palace. Shin Bu nodded vigorously, the rope pulling the bruised old men behind him into winces, though they dared not cry out. He asked about Shinso Palace's thunder technique. Spilled everything. The captive revealed it was the 5 Thunder Divine method, consisting of Sky Thunder, Earth Thunder, Dragon Thunder, Divine Thunder, and Community Thunder. Divine Thunder and Community Thunder targeted evil spirits, while Earth Thunder commanded monsters. Dragon Thunder suppressed barbarian beasts. Divine Thunder pierced ghosts and specters, and Community Thunder slayed evil spirits. But Shinso Palace was full of living immortals, so he didn't know their exact technique. He asked if the captive knew where to find these thunder techniques. He denied it, claiming if he had that power, he wouldn't be stuck in Gohyeon Town. He then demanded they explain their connections to Gohyeon Town, why they kidnapped lonely townspeople, and where they sent them. He demanded the buyer and purpose. Shin Bu also had to explain the melon farmer. They all confessed. Years ago, a strange scholar arrived in town, approached the Elders Association, and demanded they kidnap the lonely and vulnerable, sending them to him. A dark pact. The 3 elders, wealthy magnates, initially refused and summoned guards to bind him for heresy. Zero fear. The scholar chanted a few spells and the burly guards immediately dropped dead. He then calmly told them that if they helped, he would share these cultivation methods. Cultivation was far more valuable than gold. Huang Jingrio, already rich, saw a path to power and agreed immediately. The other 2 followed out of fear and greed. Absolute madness. The scholar demanded 10 people every 3 months delivered directly to the haunted Unjong Temple Mountain. They were forbidden from asking questions or spreading rumors, ensuring a steady, quiet supply. The technique he shared was a wicked path of harvesting vital essence and blood. Everyone despised the 3 elders, and if Hyo Sangrai still had his leg, he would have kicked them. He asked Shin Bu if the scholar's methods belonged to Hungdo. Shocked, Shin Bu shook his head, claiming it was impossible since Sacrificing the living was clearly a wicked path, while he lacked details. His sect only dealt with souls of the deceased. Human sacrifice just did not align with Pungdo's ways. That meant Sun Kaiyan was definitely from Pungdo, but the scholar was not, making the situation even more bizarre. He questioned Shimbu about his relationship with the melon farmer. The man replied sanctimoniously that he had sensed what the three elders were doing and wanted to act for heaven. But seeing the young hero's icy glare, he quickly admitted that he actually wanted a secret method that allowed ordinary mortals to gain high cultivation so rapidly. Hoping to steal it, he had sent scouts to watch the farmer to force Hwang to show himself. The young man slapped him again for daring to call others despicable. Jang Sagwing then asked about the Yugang Ghost Garden. The three elders, who were shameless but still cared about their reputation, just stammered. Shimbu, having traveled the world for years, was far bolder and spoke up directly, saying that the garden's owner was a cultivator. For some reason, the three wanted him dead, but failed, so they had offered Shimbu a massive sum to slaughter his entire family. His rage was legendary, turning him into a restless spirit, haunting the estate and raising corpse demons, but the garden's natural feng shui kept them completely trapped. Locked in a permanent barrier, under Rui's relentless and heavy slaps, the three elders finally confessed. The slain cultivator had discovered their kidnapping scheme but chose to show mercy, wanting to avoid a local conflict, and offered to let bygones be bygones. It was a fatal mistake. His kind indecision brought absolute ruin. Hyo Sungrai and the crew were deeply impressed, finally understanding why other players failed to solve the town's mystery. Talk about a wild hidden ending. He clapped his hands and announced that they would head to Yugang Ghost Garden. Everyone carried the prisoners along. Stepping inside, a brand new system prompt flashed, saying the hidden quest was updated to a three-way stalemate, pitting the Hayek Association, the elders, and the spirits against each other, before finally destroying all enemies for 5,000 experience and 2 attribute points, plus 5 random items. Later, they dragged the corrupt local gentry inside the Yugang Ghost Garden, everyone looking terrified. Master Hwang stammered nervously that the estate was crawling with corpse demons and phantoms. Shimbu added that the dark energy was suffocating. Hyo Sungrai just laughed. He knew those fools had no idea the demons were already slaughtered by his brother Rui. As they spoke, the party walked through the main gate and saw the ground littered with shattered bones. Everyone froze in shock. Shimbu, the cunning wandering Taoist, was the quickest to react and immediately started showering praises, calling the young hero's skills truly extraordinary, and saying he had never witnessed such brilliant, thunderous combat techniques, claiming even the immortals of Sinso Palace could not compare. Even Rui felt this was excessive since he had seen those immortals before. The party spent a while exploring before finally reaching the backyard of the estate. A tightly locked door stood in front of them, sealed with the scarlet talismans Shimbu used years ago. Once those seals were removed, the dark spirits would run completely wild. He gathered everyone to discuss their plans. Oh Hyung noted the quest required three-way battle, which seemed impossible now since the bosses were already half dead. Hyo Sungrai suggested that as long as they threw them inside, the quest would. He considered the job done. He had quickly learned to value results. No guessing where he learned that the original Yin spirit was a decent person murdered by these scumbags. In this world, taking revenge made perfect sense. Jang Songwang suggested tossing them in first as a test. The young man agreed. He made the call. Off came the talisman. The girls pulled open the heavy door. He grabbed the 4 tied-up captives and threw them inside. The heavy door slammed shut. Hei Songrai survived, though with a broken leg, an injury that leveling could never fix. Only leaving the realm would work. He watched him, asking why he looked so annoyed. The hero grumbled that this mission only gave 5,000 experience, leaving him 7,000 short of his goal. The level 10 limit, Jang Songwang quickly reassured him. Leveling speed was already insane, especially since this was only his second realm. Oh Shalom nearly screamed at that. Hei Songrai joked his brother Rui was the same. It felt as if they had known each other for years. Blushing, Mei Mang told him that even without a class advancement, he was incredibly strong. He just nodded and smiled. It was all good. Suddenly, a blood-curdling shriek echoed from the back garden. Someone begged for Chu Jiyoung. Then came a desperate cry about building a memorial hall and hiring people to perform a cleansing ritual. Then all sounds Fated dead, he stretched, preparing to clear out the lingering ghosts. He had to do it. A good soul turned ghost becomes a different creature. But things change after death. Suddenly, a horrific, earth-shaking roar erupted. A tidal wave of pure malevolent energy exploded outward, tearing through the garden walls and shattering the gate. Debris flew everywhere in a massive gale. He grabbed Hae Song-rai, diving to safety. Talk about total professionalism. Once the dust settled, a massive 10-jang-tall shadow loomed over them. Dark, churning energy held the four victims merged inside its grotesque form. The system interface flashed. The tense, three-way stalemate had just been broken. An emergency hidden quest was triggered, the rampage of the Yin spirit. Goal: kill or die. Rewards included 7,500 experience. 1 skill point, 3 random items and gear. The party was stunned. Caught between greed for the skill point and sheer terror of the fused monster. But our hero was already downing temporary stat-boosting potions. He had stocked up on various elixirs from side quests, stacking every possible buff. Next up was the real boss fight. He ordered the others to protect Hae Song-rai. They protested, arguing this creature was far stronger than a typical level 5 to 10 boss. Jang Songwang insisted they fight together as comrades, not behave like baggage. The hero paused, smiled, and acknowledged his mistake. He instantly activated his Heart Sutra and charged forward, cloaked in brilliant gold light. Jang Songwang threw down a trap, yelling for him to lure the monster in. Meanwhile, the level 10 girl and the level 9 girl distracted the beast from the flanks. Hae Song-rai, the one-legged swordsman, had great stats to deal some real damage, looking for a fatal blow, but the massive Yin spirit was physically terrifying, wielding the stolen skills of the 4 dead bosses, like Shinbu's blazing fire breath and those close-range, bone-shredding tiger claws. With his teammates keeping it busy, he suddenly spotted his opening. He appears in midair, golden lightning crackling in his palm, ready to strike. The spirit lets out a shriek, forcefully interrupting his skill cast. Just as he is about to disengage, Jang Sogwan shouts for him to unleash. A red light flashes at the Yin spirit's feet, triggering the explosive trap, not fatal, but a brief opening. Ban Roy Palm, the golden lightning visibly weakens the malevolent energy. Hyo Sung-rai raises his long sword for a finishing blow but suddenly senses something is wrong. Purplish-black malevolent energy surges, overwhelming his Ban Roy Palm. The beast has a second form. He retreats to avoid being engulfed. The Yin spirit stands completely unharmed. Jang Sogwan throws down more traps to help him escape, asking what they can possibly do. Since they cannot break its defense, the other 3 wear grave expressions. However, he remains calm, telling them not to worry. He still has a skill point. Everyone is completely confused. It is normal to bring supplies, potions, backup equipment, and combat gear, but who saves skill points? Demon Wind Temple, a 10-star realm, gave massive materials but only 2 extra skill points. In this dungeon, a skill point was only rewarded because they uncovered a high-level hidden boss. But when he says he still has one, it shocks everyone. Using Jang Sogwan's trap to buy time, he allocates the point. Skills: Sinso Bonroy. Heart Sutra level 2, the divine thunder of the 5 thunder technique. Specifically counters yin, evil, and ghosts. He calls for them to help. Distract: Jang Sogwan, O Xian, and Mei Mang charge from different directions, baiting the 3 elders absorbed in its body. He steps into the air and triggers the skill again. The corpses within shift and Shinbu's lifeless gaze fixes on him. Golden flames spew from the rotting mouth, meeting the golden lightning in his palm, but they act like water and are extinguished instantly. Since Palace's golden thunder heavily suppresses yin spirits after Shinbu's death, he was corrupted by malevolent energy, turning into evil, and his corrupted flames are totally countered by divine thunder. His Ban Roy Palm is a fusion of 2 level 2 skills. Veins bulge on his hand as he charges, lightning swallowing the flames, aiming directly for the humanoid head. Ban Roy Palm can also critically strike like the scorching sun melting snow. The Yin spirit's shriek turns into a wail. Countless tiny divine thunders invade its body, revealing the shriveled corpse at its core. Hyo Sung-rai leaps forward and thrusts his sword. The rare long sword instantly slices the fragile body in 2, and all the malevolent energy vanishes with a roar. The panel rolls. Advanced hidden quest completed. Main quest completed. Leveled up. New skill points, new items. The 2 girls jump up hand in hand. Jang Sogwan slumps to the ground, grinning. Hyo Sungrai looks at the sword with excitement. His gaze toward him fills with even greater admiration. He lets out a deep sigh of relief, not just for defeating the boss, but because the reward. His skill points, which his client will surely love. Then a voice interrupts, calm and without killing intent. He introduces himself as Ju Yi Young, former master of Yugan Ghost Garden, and thanks them as benefactors. He explained those 3 old scoundrels allied with the Taoist murdered him. It was vile magic. His bitter resentment had trapped him there for years. But today he was finally free. The speaker was a translucent spirit. He wore his middle-aged form. "No trouble," the kid replied. The ghost said such kindness was beyond repayment, offering one crucial tip. He asked if the kid used the divine thunder of Senso Palace. Ju was silent. Our hero asked if the Manor Lord had more. His spirit was fading fast, but he had once visited the south. That southern region was crawling with dangerous demons and ancient beasts. A legendary cultivator had mentioned a powerful creature residing in those marshes. This creature was supposedly connected to the elusive power of dragon thunder. Rumor had it that mastering all 5 thunders restored an ancient spell. He stayed silent. A sudden new quest notification flashed before him. The exploration quest updated the dismembered spell. He had to master 5 different thunder techniques, starting with sky thunder. Earth and dragon thunder were at 0, but divine thunder was done. Community thunder remained at 0, with clues pointing to the southern swamp. That dangerous marsh held the key. The final reward was massive. Seriously, a mythical skill. That is the ultimate jackpot in this world. Far above normal, rare, epic, and even legendary, this rank stood alone. Only an extremely limited number of powerful masters had ever obtained one. Legendary figures owned them. Even the great Heo family possessed absolutely none. Luckily, he already had the divine thunder skill in his arsenal. Master Chun Heo had gifted him this, but with extreme conditions. He had to survive the terrifying Demon Wind Temple and Spear Bone. Then he needed this heavenly fiend body. The other 4 were tougher. Finding them would be a nightmare. Having delivered the clue, Ju Jae Young bowed deeply and faded away. Suddenly, thunder cracked and the heavy rain began. The summer downpour finally broke. Still, the invaders had already vanished. They disappeared completely, leaving the rain to wash over the dark garden. It swept through the Yugan Ghost Garden, cleansing the bloody battleground. Moonyan walked past holding coffee, then paused and took 2 steps back. She stared at him. Unbelievably, all 6 white stars turned black. It made sense. A kid capable of clearing 10-star difficulty wouldn't struggle here. Clearing a 6-star zone was easy for him, just as she turned to leave. He gasped and opened his eyes. She quickly helped unbuckle his gear. She handed him some warm water while he sat in silence to clear his head. He asked for the time. She said it was 4:52. It was Friday, meaning weekend traffic would be brutal. He was going to be late. For Jongho's birthday, he had to go. He yelled he would report tomorrow and fled. She assumed the dungeon clearance went smoothly, leaving absolutely nothing to explain. But 30 minutes later, Brother Ba came bursting in, looking for him frantically. He asked team leader Moon where the kid was. She calmly said he left. Apparently there was an emergency, so he ran off immediately. Ba stood there stunned. He gasped out that the kid had just shattered the record for Goyen Town, ending that absolutely no one had ever discovered. Soon, the Heo family was calling Chairman's son to express their gratitude, but our protagonist had already slipped away in silence. How did Brother Ba even find out? Well, the moment Heo Sungrai got out of there, he started babbling to his mother and grandfather before even unbuckling his gear. He rarely ever acknowledged other people, yet his nonstop praise for a guy he had met just once left both elders completely stunned. Once he explained that hidden ending, his new level, and massive gains, they finally understood. Commissioner Heo was absolutely thrilled. His grandson went in at level 9 and walked out at level 11 with a super rare skill point, and his growth potential had skyrocketed thanks to this secret dungeon. He immediately dialed Chairman Sun to say thanks, since the commissioner was happy future resource funding would flow much easier. Naturally, Sun was thrilled too and called Oh Myung to praise her performance. Since her career literally depended on Sun's approval, she immediately called Brother Ba and demanded that our hero get a massive reward, even making an exception to let him pick a non-soul bound eternal grade weapon directly from the vault. But when Brother Ba reached the Gukdong building, the guy had already vanished. He he was currently racing to meet up with his buddy Jong Ho, ever since his parents passed away in a tragic accident. Back in elementary school, he had survived as an orphan. He always wore a tough outer shell, keeping almost everyone at a distance, but Jong Ho was his absolute closest friend. Sure, elite ranks and fancy rewards were great, but some things in life just matter more. He walked into the private dining room to find his friends shouting that he was late, which meant a one-drink penalty. They kept it light though, only pouring a single glass of beer to tease him. He was genuinely thirsty and downed it in one go. They joked about his busy schedule, and he just laughed it off, saying it was no big deal without a girlfriend. Honestly, you have to respect his loyalty here. They had absolutely no idea he had blown off a meeting with top high-ranking officials just to make it to his birthday party. Then came the cake, candles, and song. With the birthday routine done, they started chatting, and Jong Ho lined in mysteriously. He claimed he had a secret that must not leave the room, some weird incident that apparently went down in Chungguang town last month. The others eagerly asked what, but he only knew it was completely supernatural, having overheard his father talking on the phone. Now the two of them had been close since childhood, especially because our main guy had been looked after by Officer Wang, while Jong Ho's father worked right alongside him at the municipal bureau, graduating from the academy in the exact same class as Officer Wang. This made his rumors about his dad highly credible. The other friends scoffed, suggesting it was just some military drill or fugitive hunt, telling him to stop being so superstitious. He then looked over at his best friend, asking if he believed the story. Our protagonist had to lie against his own conscience, saying that he probably misheard, since he obviously could not reveal the supernatural truth. Jong Ho was annoyed, insisting he really heard his father being incredibly secretive, demanding to know what could possibly be hidden up in those misty mountains. Our hero awkwardly cracked a joke, Ultraman. The entire room burst into fits of laughter. The next morning on the 10th floor of the Gukdong building, Brother Ba called him a reckless brat for running away the instant he got out, just to go party. Someone's birthday, he is completely speechless. Things were handled so beautifully. He can't blame Li Rui. Soon, Li Rui pacifies him, calling him Brother Ba. He promises this is a one-time thing. Brother Ba just wanted a good attitude. After a few pleasantries, his tone softens. He reveals that he wrote the report based on Hyo Songrai's account. He hands it over. Li Rui scans the stack. No problems found. He is quite surprised at how detailed Hyo Songrai's account is, but some things are missing. Hyo Songrai didn't know everything. Li Rui tells Brother Ba there is more. Brother Ba is busy stapling, barely paying attention. Li Rui keeps going. The Insol boss regained human form and gave a long-term mission. Brother Ba brightens up immediately. Long-term missions mean great rewards. Li Rui asks why he isn't asking what the reward is. Brother Ba laughs and accuses him of trying to show off. He boasts about his own epic set piece, warning Li Rui to stop. The reward is a mythical skill. Brother Ba freezes like a robot, grabs his phone, and calls Oh Myung to complain that this Li Rui guy is bullying him. Mythical skills are incredibly rare. There might not even be one in each province. Each country guards their exact numbers. They are basically massive national weapons, making this quest a top priority. Oh Myung listens and wastes no time. She personally rushes over to the Gukdong building. Li Rui didn't expect such a massive reaction, but seeing her arrive with several vice presidents within an hour makes him glad. He kept this quiet inside the dungeon. In the conference room, everyone is present. The atmosphere is tense. Oh Myung pulls up secret records from the Supernatural Department intranet. She projects it. The screen displays the secret realm world, Eastern Continent, and the 5 Thunder Divine Method, a mysterious and ancient spell composed of 5 forms of thunder techniques. The brief matches what Shinbu said. At the end, it lists the source material. It came from a Chang'an Association provincial branch report. Former President So Chan Ryong discovered murals in the 10-star realm, specifically the Great Desolate Emperor's Tomb Divine Palace, describing the spell as originating from true immortals of the upper realm. It is scattered across the mortal world, and anyone who masters it can ascend to the Thunder Department and join the immortals. Entry notes describe the upper realm as a rumored high heaven whose existence remains unconfirmed. As for the Thunder Department, a divine administrative body, its existence is also unconfirmed. Li Rui asks What ascension is, Oh Myung-young can only shake her head, explaining that. In their worldview, this upper realm is a mere legend. No one, not even non-player characters, has ever seen it, yet, according to reports, they all yearn to cultivate to the very end and ascend, a vice. President asks if Li Rui already has divine thunder. He answers earnestly, yes. Another recalls Master Chung Yo directly taught it, Oh Myung-young tells everyone to gather more information. This is a crucial, long-term quest. Where disclosure is strictly prohibited, the news must never leave this room. The vice presidents leave, leaving only Brother Ba, Oh Myung-young, and Li Rui. Chairwoman Oh desperately tries to reach Song Yo during an important provincial meeting. Once she finally delivers the report, the only instruction is to stand by. Song Yo decides to consult the committee. He never expected things to get this serious.